Hello, Jets fans. I had an epiphany. I figured out how the Jets could make the playoffs. I had a total epiphany. And I'll be right back to talk about it after this. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
One of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Ekwonu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold? Or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today, you can't get rid of him.
Right, it's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smacker.
Hello. I did have an epiphany. I was doing a show for Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports. We were going through the schedule, and I have a path for us. A path of how we could sneak into the playoffs. Now, it involves winning a lot of games that we have to win, a lot of close games, a lot of things going our way. True. But to me, it's a realistic, believable path. Let's say hello to some people. Dakota J, what's going on? Good to see you. Rob D in the house. You guys are just coming back. My good friend and supporter, Cameron Trammell. There was a Detroit Tiger in baseball. Alex Trammell, I think it was. He was a shortstop. Everyone be sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Very much appreciated. Thank you for asking them to do that and for appreciating them for doing that. It's nice to have people out there supporting your channel for you like that. I appreciate you, Cameron. I didn't know we were doing an encore tonight. I didn't know either until a few minutes ago. I got pumped up and wanted to talk Jets. Dakota, what's up, my friend? Again, Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports. We just had a great time. Great show. Again, you could check out his videos at Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports. But more importantly, if you have an account on Twitch, if you're ever on Twitch, you should look him up and join. I don't know the vocabulary. I don't know if it's subscribe, but whatever it is, if you're a Twitch person, you should go over there. If you're not a Twitch person, you might want to look because apparently there's good content over there as well. I can get in a lot of trouble for saying that, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about that. But the truth is, Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports can be viewed right here on YouTube. But if you want to do it live, if you want to view it live, you have to go onto Twitch. What's up, some guy? I haven't seen you a couple of days or a week or whatever it is. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Alan Trammell. That's right. Well, I was close. Trammell. Correct, Jeremy. Trammell. See, I'm good. I got it. Hey, Snacks. What's up? Mess. Chief Snacker. And there's Bubba Trammell from the 2000 Mets. I do remember that name. I do. And what's this? Hey, eggs. So you took the egg from Egghead and the S from Snacks, and you came up with eggs. I love it. Oh, okay. So here's my thinking about the schedule, right? What if we were to go 5-4 in the first 9 games? How is that possible, you ask? Well, let's look. Okay. Let's say New York Jets schedule. This is why I need Adam around. Normally he'd be on here and he would be able to bring it up already. But anyway, when we look at our games, we play the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, and the Steelers. I think we can go 2-2. Then we play the Dolphins. I think we can go 3-2. We play the Packers. We lose 3-3. We fall 3-4 to the Broncos. But then we beat the Patriots and go. Wait a second. What is that? I think 4-4. Then we lose to the Bills and we go 4-5. Okay. That doesn't really. Well, I'm going to still work this out. So we're 4-5 now, right? We're feeling good. We're 4-5. I mean, that's not supposed to be good, but think about it. We matched the total amount of wins from last year, so it's not that bad. And then we play the Patriots and we beat them again. Now we're 5-5. We play the Bears and we beat them, and we're 6-5. Let's be fair and say we lose to the Vikings. We're 6-6. We lose to the Bills. We're 6-7. But then we beat the Lions, so we're 7-7. Then we beat the Jaguars, and we're 8-7. We beat the Seahawks, and we're 9-7. And we beat the Dolphins, and we're 10-7. And we steal a playoff spot. That's how it can happen, my peeps. That's how it can happen. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. We can do this. Oh, I forgot Adam could just join. I don't have to worry about sending him a link. Welcome, Watson.
I just didn't want to barge right in on you. I wanted to make sure.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That was the perfect way to do it. Appreciate that. Who joined me since I was looking at that other graphic? Blitz BK. What's going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Braden, our friend from New Zealand. Sweep the Pats and sweep the Dolphins, and we're going to the playoffs, baby. It's very possible. Chief is here. And anyway, it's good you're here because I'm tired of talking. What do you think of that? I just jumped on here and I said I see a path for the Jets to make the playoffs. Am I out of my mind?
So you're projecting that they could have a 10-win season realistically, right?
I'm not saying likely. I'm not saying
realistically, not probably.
Realistically,
but it's possible.
Right. I'm not completely out of my mind. It's not the most ridiculous thing. Stranger things have happened in the NFL.
If they
the Bengals going to the Super Bowl last year.
No, I would venture to say very few people even had them as a wild card team. Very few. Right. So I'm going through it myself. If they have to be at least 3-2 after the first 5 games, after the AFC North stretch and that Dolphin game. I really think if they're going to have any kind of a season, they have to beat Miami in Week 5 at home. It's time for that. That has to happen. Then that stretch of 4 games is what worries me. At Green Bay, at Denver, home against New England, home against Buffalo, then the bye. If I would settle for 1, and if they could win 2 of those, I would be overjoyed. Combine 5 wins and a relatively clean bill of health, and I'm on cloud 9 heading into the bye. So that is kind of what I'm thinking there. I'm thinking real. So 5-4. Winning, it's going to be interesting because, last year, I think coming out of the bye, they went to New England and just got absolutely shellacked by Belichick and Macaroni Jones, as Frankie has referred to him as. Now they got to face New England in Gillette coming out of the bye for the second straight year. That game's going to say a lot about where the season is. I've got a feeling this team is going to be right at 500, 1 game over or 1 game under going into the bye. 5-4 or 4-5. I think that's realistic. That is a game that can determine the fate of our season. Then after that, you have the Bears. Now, granted, Chris Bradigan, I know he's not here right now, but he knows the pain. The Jets have not beaten the Bears since the year 2000. Vinny was still quarterbacking the team back then. That's how long it's been. And then after that, at Minnesota, I think that's going to be a brutally hard game to win. I really do. I think Minnesota is just a bad matchup for the Jets, especially with Dalvin Cook. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop Dalvin Cook. That game really worries me. Then let's see. At the Bills, home against the Lions, home against the Jaguars, at Seattle, at Miami. You know what? If they can – we talk about the record coming out of the bye. If they are at least – if they're 5-5 after that first Patriot game, you can make a realistic argument they're going to win 10 games. definitely 9-10 if everything goes right. So, yeah, I hate to say, I really think that the Dolphins win. I don't like to use the term must win because I feel like must win is one of those very overused words like GOAT. I know it's 2 words, but it gets very overused. But there are certain games in an NFL season where if you're going to go anywhere, you have to win them. Otherwise, you're just heading back to a top 10 draft pick. And to me, the game that I'm circling is Week 5, home against Miami. And if you want to throw the Patriots game, Week 8, October 30th, that week, if you want to include that game in there, you absolutely can. So, yeah, that's I'm kind of talking this all out in my mind as I go through it, but I think as good as this conference is, I think it's really going to take 10 wins to get the wild card spot. 9 wins sounds really good, but I think there's going to be a lot of games where the AFC just beats up on the NFC. I know the North teams will beat up on each other. The West teams will beat up on each other. But I really think as good as this conference is, it's going to take 10 wins. And then you got to get some breaks with the tiebreakers. So
now
that's
look,
kind of
if
what I'm
they
thinking.
win 9 games and don't make the playoffs, it's still a victory. Especially if Zach clearly has taken the next step and is a big part of it and played really well. It's a huge victory. There's no question about it. So that would be great. I would obviously love to win 10 and make the playoffs, which would be just the most incredible thing. It would be such a great thing if we did it. Afrin, what's going on? Yeah, that's right, man. Canarsie in the house, baby. Not just Brooklyn. Canarsie, Brooklyn. But
Canarsie.
Canarsie. Anthony
Canarsie.
G. There's a guy on YouTube doing a full sim season with rookies. We went 12-5, Save America's build, and made wild card. Wow. Okay. That's crazy to go 12-5 and only get a wild card. But that's how it some years that's the way it is. Some years you can go 12-4. It used to be, but 12-5, make a wild card, and then another team gets in at 9-7, or in this case, it would be 9-8. But probably going to be 10-7 is going to be like that cutoff, right? And unless you get just one of those weird years. But the AFC has so many good teams, so the only way that 9-8 is going to do it is if there's so many good teams that there's so much parity that very few teams break out and have really amazing records. And it's just everybody beating up on everybody,
It's a fair point. I like reading some of these thoughts in the chats that the Lions could be a trap game. I don't think the Jets are in a position to ever have a trap game. I think you have to be a decent team before you can have a trap game. We're a trap game for half the league right now. But it's very interesting. Braden, you're right. Yep, Kyle Rudolph signed with Tampa Bay. So I'm sure now he's going to become Gronkowski because that's just what happens.
I wouldn't call Minnesota an easy win by any means.
I'm sorry. No. Dalvin Cook to me is a top 3 running back in the NFL. Definitely top 5 for sure.
Even after the injury? Like when he came back, you think
when he's on? Yeah, that's the key. When he's healthy, I think his combination of power, speed, and agility is as good as almost anyone. With try to think who Taylor, obviously Aaron Jones. There's one that's kind of slipping my mind, but I would put Cook up there with almost anybody. I like him that much.
Okay, Jessica to Minnesota. No, Lee, didn't I do prediction? That's my brother. Yeah, we did a prediction. Your job is to go back, write down every game that I picked, and we do another show, and we see if my picks match up from that show. So that's your job. That's your assignment. Get to work, and then we could do another show together. Because I'm not predicting every game. So right now, so we can do another prediction show and compare because things have changed since we that show. Obviously, Minnesota Vikings. Look, I hope we beat Minnesota, but it's like individually you look at each game. Yeah, we should beat Minnesota. We should beat Detroit. We should beat Chicago. We should beat Jacksonville. We should beat the Texans. But do we win all 5? When you do it as a group of games, it's not as easy to say. Because even great teams go into out of those 5 might, like Buffalo lost to Jacksonville last year. So the hard part is we still have to win every winnable game that we could win. Yes, we should beat Chicago, but we still have to do it. Yes, Detroit still have to do it. Jacksonville still have to do it. Those teams want to win too. So that's what makes it hard. but also you have to remember you never know. Denver might lay an egg the week we play them. Green Bay is just coming back from London. Like you never know. We might win games that we don't expect to win. Just like last year, we beat Tennessee and Cincinnati. We weren't supposed to win those games.
Yeah, by the way, Cook came in, I think last year, let's see, Dalvin Cook finished 5th in the league in rush attempts, 5th in rushing yards. Didn't have a lot of touchdowns, so that's like the one knock you could have on him. But he was 5th in the league in yards behind Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, and Najee Harris. He had 1,159 yards last year. So, no, Cook is a really, really good running back. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Kyle Rudolph. Yeah, from
Rudolph?
Minnesota originally, yeah.
I thought the Giants signed him.
I think they might have had him for I think they had him last year for like one season. And then they probably just let him go. It was probably a 1 year
I
contract.
thought it was a multiple year. I guess it was just 1 year guaranteed.
Or maybe
Okay.
they just released him. I could check.
Yeah, that was a stupid signing by them when they made it.
They made a lot. They made a lot of signings. My God,
Yeah.
the best thing the Giants have done in 5 years is bring back their classic blue jerseys with the Giants on the helmet on the side. That's like the smartest decision they've made in years.
I am betting on the Super Bowl win, but that's not me saying I believe that I'm going to win. That's just me.
Yeah.
That's just me being me.
So last year, the Giants released Rudolph in March. He had 26 catches for 257 yards and 1 touchdown. Yuck. Yeah. And after having 10 seasons with Minnesota, so yeah. Well, I'm sure he's going to find the fountain of youth down there in Western Florida. So
Maximilian, what's up?
Maximilian.
Good evening, Maximilian or Maximilian. I'm trying to be fancy. We should have gotten Lloyd, Mike.
People are so afraid of the Lions. It's really interesting.
Lloyd, Mike.
They've got some good weapons, but I mean, how scary is the Lions defense at this point? Yep, they got Hutch, but I mean, outside of Aiden Hutchinson, I mean, how many starters on the Lions defense can the average football fan name?
Yeah. You know what's interesting is that
Jeff Okudah healthy? Is Jeff Okudah finally healthy? I don't know.
You know what's interesting is that Aaron Butler and I agree on this. I see the Jets going 2-2 in the first 4 games, and when I pick the 2 games that we're going to win, it's not the Ravens. Is not one of them. Even though as much I'm going to beat the opener, I'm dying for the Jets to find a way to win that game. But to me, it's going to be Pittsburgh and Cleveland that we beat, and that we're going to lose to Cincinnati and Baltimore. Like when I do my projection of 2-2. So I'm not going to yell at him for coming in and saying that, or being confident. And I think that Aaron Butler agrees with me. He says, "Look, you're not going to beat us, but." He thinks we're going to improve and be a good team. People don't listen to him, but he does say that. He believes that the Jets will come back and be decent and improve a lot this year, but we're just not ready to beat the Ravens, and I'm okay with that. I think we have a chance against the Ravens. I'm going to the game. I'm not going to go to the MetLife and be at the stadium and say, "Hey, everybody, we got no chance to win this game." But I acknowledge that to win the game, it's going to be an upset. It's going to be a surprise because it's a game that really we shouldn't win. But this is the NFL. So, and we're fans, and we're supposed to go to the game and root for our team and have hope. Because without hope, what is there?
Misery.
Yeah.
That's about it. If you don't have hope now, then who knows? FFS, this Yahoo is back. I'm thinking that's you. I don't know.
No, they saying that about
Dakota. I appreciate your optimism, but I think most people, if you talk to most Jets fans, most media members, content providers, talk to whoever you want to talk to, if people will talk about one weakness this team has, most of them are going to tell you the run defense. And to me, there's really, outside of, I would say maybe Chubb, I'm really not that worried about Harris as much. I'm more worried about Nick Chubb with that power that he has. Outside of Chubb, I don't think there's another running back I'm more concerned about on the schedule than Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, so I think the point spread is 4.5 points, right? Or 5.5, maybe 5.5, 6.
5.5 was the last that I saw.
Look, it's gambling. Week 1 is me who used to gamble on football games. Week 1 is always hard because the season hasn't started to really identify itself yet. Because there's always teams that are better than you thought, teams that underperform, teams that have trouble getting started. It's a really tough week week one when you gamble, because usually you like to have some information. You like to see like teams are getting better. Look, they're growing every week. It's hard to predict games week one, but
Week 1 and week 17 are the two hardest weeks to pick. There's
you
no
know,
doubt.
but yeah, but 5.5, 6 points shows me that if the game was in Baltimore, we'd probably be 10-point underdogs. At home, they're saying we're 5.5-point underdogs, and that we have a chance that it's going to be a close game or a competitive game. Because if it's a 5.5-point game, that's competitive. You know,
It's definitely true. Yeah. Jeremy, check your Twitter messages. It says Jets better. The Jets should be better than the Giants. They absolutely should be better than the Giants.
Dark Soldier saying, okay. Jeremy, check your Twitter message.
Yeah.
All
right.
So
I want to comment on Dakota's remark. He said the Browns are lost without Baker Mayfield. The best part to them is their run game. Well, at wide receiver, they did bring in Amari Cooper. They got a pretty good offensive line with Jedrick Wills, Wyatt Teller, who's a top 10 guard in the league, Jack Conklin. That's pretty solid. Their defense, between Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, J.O.K., very, very good second-year linebacker. They brought back Anthony Walker, who I wanted the Jets to sign at linebacker. In the secondary, you've got Denzel Ward, you've got Greg Newsome. They drafted Perion Winfrey. They got Chase Winovich from the Patriots. That's no pushover defense, guys. The Browns, really, I think they have. If you look at non-quarterback roster, that's a top 10 roster in the league, in my opinion, because they're good at a lot of key positions.
Yep. Modine chimes in and says, I think the Jets will lose most early games until rookies get their feet under them at the NFL level, and then maybe the Jets can win some games down the stretch that some think they can't win. It's very realistic. There's nothing wrong with the thought or the belief that, like last year, we're going to take some time to get going, because that's what happens with some young teams. So it's not an impossible thing. I think it's with our schedule. To me, we really, to have any chance to do anything as far as, like compete for a wild card, like if you're going to go to that level, we have to get 2 of those first 4 games, though. I don't think we're going to be able to upset enough teams in the middle of the season to make up for it if we start 0-4. If we start 0-4, we got big problems.
0-4, even 1-4, it's not going to be enough, because those are all AFC teams.
Yeah,
you have to win your conference games. The one game that we could lose that we'd be like, okay, we could deal with it, is at Green Bay. But you can make a very good argument for the Jets beating any of those other teams in the NFC North. They're not playing the NFC West. Even though I said Minnesota is going to be very difficult, they could beat the Vikings. They could definitely beat the Bears. They could definitely beat the Lions. But winning some of those games, like the Miamis, the New Englands, those teams that would be competing for wild cards, those games are going to be so pivotal if we're going to have a legit season here. It's so big. The Denver game, if they could, I think the biggest game that they could overachieve to win would be Denver. I think that game is going to be really hard. There was actually a question when we were on Buffalo show last night, right at the very end of the show with Buffalo. And I think it was Blaze. I forgot his exact name, but I think it was like BT Blaze, something like that. And he asked, what team can match up with Moore, Wilson, and Davis? My first thought was the Denver Broncos. With their secondary and their pass rushing ability, that is the defense that I could see giving us the biggest problems, along with Buffalo, over the course of the season. So, I'll let you go ahead.
Jay Cole, the name of the channel has changed, my friend. It started NFL Chaos with Jeremy, not Jeremy, but it started NFL Chaos with Jeremy, but then it became Jets Chaos with Jeremy, and then it became Jets Chaos. But I know that J. Cole doesn't like change. He misses the old NFL Chaos with Jeremy when I had 50 subscribers. He misses those days. Sometimes I miss those days as well. There was a lot less pressure, a lot less criticism, a lot less people. Just a couple of friends hanging out. Oh, but now we grow, J. Cole, and we move forward.
And we go
We
big
move
time.
forward together, my friend. The Jets are the future, and so is Jets Chaos and New York Wicker Media Sports. We are the future. Buffalo Jets.
We are the future.
proud New York, proud Jets fan. I'm just saying all the channel names wrong.
No, no, it's not very often I get to see that, but I absolutely agree with Aaron Butler.
Browns.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. It's a little bit like if they have like a competent quarterback, you could draw comparisons between the Browns and the Rex Ryan Jets. You miss the old WA2K. I haven't changed one bit. The only thing that's really changed is I've got headphones on my ears and I've got a new background behind me. I haven't changed one bit.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, but look, it's a tough division. It's also a very hard to define division because while Pittsburgh is getting a new quarterback, right, and people say, "Oh, Trubisky." I mean, Ben Roethlisberger was cooked last year. He was stick a fork at him bad. I mean, he was bad. So the Steelers might not be any worse than they were at least last year, because are they really dropping off in quarterback? I mean, can you play any worse than Ben played? He was not a good quarterback last year.
I mean, I'll be very interested to see where they go at quarterback. Do you really think it's a 50-50 open competition between Trubisky and Pickett? Because I really think they're just going to play whoever is the better quarterback.
I think it's open. I think it's an open competition. I mean, I think they're going to – I mean, if Pickett comes in and crushes it and looks great, he's going to get a chance to play. I don't think he's going to, though. I think Pickett's the kind of guy that might end up being an okay quarterback or starting quarterback, but not one that's ready to play week one and be as Trubisky got him on experience. And just knowing how to play in an NFL game. So, but does that matter? If you're Pittsburgh, maybe you maybe Pickett's good enough and you think he's ready to just put him in there.
Just like when Russell Wilson took the job in week one for him. When he had like two veterans he was going against, well, he proved to be the man for the job, and he never looked back. Rivka from Jets X Factor, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. It's always exciting to have somebody from the X Factor show here.
I just like saying her name, I got to be honest.
I'm a huge fan of Jets X Factor. So
absolutely.
It's like it's very nice to have you here, Rivka. I appreciate you coming in. Any team that has a good running game is going to be a tough matchup for the Jets. I think until the Jets prove they can stop the run, I can't argue with that. Right? I mean, we have to prove we can stop the run. And teams jump up and down. Like, we could be a much better team against the run this year. It's possible. There are some pieces that can change the narrative. But until we get on the field and do it, the assumption's got to be that our weakness is playing teams with a great running game and teams that know how to execute screen passes.
I mean, we could go through the schedule. We'll go through the opponents and say, is this a team where we fear their running game? I mean, we could go through each and every game and see where the threats on this, if you want me to.
Sure.
We could do it
that way.
So, all right. Let's just roll through it really quick. So week one, home against the Ravens. I mean, my first thought is with Lamar Jackson, he may be the biggest running threat they have. We don't know what they're going to bring up at running back between Dobbins, between Davis, a couple of other guys, Tyler Beatty, but we know that is a run-based offense as opposed to pass-based.
Mm-hmm.
So,
week
two, Jets at Browns. You got to be concerned between Hunt and Chubb, and with not having Deshaun Watson in all likelihood. That's going to be another very run-focused game.
But we know it. We know it. We might be able to put more men in the box and just rely on our corners to cover their receivers, because we think that they can handle it with their quarterback play. Like, maybe we say we're going to pressure this kid, Brissett. We're gonna give him a hard time. And force them to run the ball, but like maybe we can keep 8 guys in the box. Maybe we could cover their receivers and trust Gardner and trust DJ Reed, to be able to hold it down. And then, and we might be able to stop the run that way. I'm not saying definitely, but we got guys like Whitehead. We got better tackling cornerbacks in Reed and Gardner, I think. We got Lawson and Jacob Martin and JJ who are better at containing the edge. There's a chance that we're going to be better against the run. I'm not guaranteeing it. I mean, and I still think we're a big body defensive tackle short of doing it, but it's not impossible that we're going to be improved. And at least able to, not, at least contain it, not be as just controlled as we were last year by some teams.
Okay. So for me, I got a feeling we're going to see Whitehead playing like online with the linebackers, the level of the linebackers as opposed to the secondary a lot, because I really think that they would envision Whitehead as that, that hard-hitting safety, like that Adam Archuleta, that type of a safety. He can still play coverage when you need him to, but I really believe that I think the best thing that he could do is diagnose plays, find the ball, go right after him, and knock the crap out of him. And then hopefully you could trust a Lamarcus Joyner or Jason Pinnock to play center field for this team. One of the biggest things that can make this defense is one of those two guys emerging as a legit safety, at least for this season, as a good safety. We're not asking him to be Ed Reed or anything like that, but a good, smart, reliable free safety between Pinnock and Joyner. One of them ought to be enough, in my opinion. Jets will have a top run game this season. It can absolutely happen.
J. Cole,
he's your son.
J. Cole, if I see you at that game, we're going to run to each other and we are going to dance the night away as if thousands of people in the parking lot were not standing there. We are going to dance like we're at a Jewish wedding and no one can see us and we're free to just do the dance. Okay?
On that note, excuse me.
Okay. I expect him to pull out like a bag and in the bag unwrap some chicken cutlets for me.
And they better still be warm and crispy.
Let's see what's checking on Brady.
CJ Cole Jeremy hasn't changed at all. Braden, I absolutely agree with you. Wasn't it interesting? We're talking about players on the PUP list and whatnot. We know there were several players the Jets put on the PUP list to start training camp. Not the end of the world. This is just the way that the league does things now. But isn't it interesting that Jamion Sherwood was not on that list, and he's coming off an Achilles tear?
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be a piece to help with that running game if he gets the reps. Because I'm sorry, we cannot count on Quincy Williams being an every down linebacker. We know what he's capable of, but he has been previously an all or nothing type of linebacker. I really think that Sherwood is a very cerebral player, and I think he can really do something if he's right. And the fact that he's not on the PUP list, I think that's actually something to go, raise your eyebrows and just have a sort of moment. So he's one of those players I think during the preseason I would want to watch for on the field. I want to see how he's moving and if he's making plays. So that's one of my players to watch for the preseason. We should actually do that before the preseason games start, like 5 players to watch in the preseason. Yeah. I think that would be a fun thing to do.
That'll be very fun. We'll definitely do that. And, I think one thing I want to say about us against the run, okay, that I want to remind. Now, if you watch the Indianapolis game, if you watch the second half of the Eagles game, there were games where it was basically watching Rutgers play Alabama. It was a joke. But we played Tennessee, and Henry was in when we played Tennessee, and we held up. We held up.
He got his yards in overtime, but he was like compiler. It was like, to use a baseball analogy, he was like Rafael Palmeiro. He was around long enough, and he had enough reps to where he got some yards towards the end. But for like 3 to 3.5 quarters, we really did contain Derrick Henry.
Well, and every team gets worn down by Henry. I mean, there's no shame in that. That's like what Lynch used to be for Seattle. Near the end of the game, fourth quarter, he'd kill you because they wear you down. But the point I'm making is what was different about that Tennessee game? What was different about the Cincinnati game? Because they have a pretty good running back in Mixon. What was different about the games where it wasn't the issue, where our defense was actually keeping us in games? And to me, the answer to that question is, in some of them, it was that our offense was able to not go 1, 2, 3 and out, 1, 2, 3 and out, and establish no rhythm. Like the Tennessee game, we actually were able to do something with the ball, and we were actually allowing our defense to rest. And it actually started to break down when we stopped. Near the end of that game, we started to crumble a little bit, and that was the problem. We can't, so I just think that theoretically, to use Rivka's word, that one of the ways we can improve is if our offense could help our defense and vice versa.
Yes.
But I think if we could establish real drives and and give them a chance to, take away the other team's offensive rhythm and let our defense stay fresh, I think we might be able to improve. There's different ways we can improve against the run, but I agree. There's concerns. The defensive tackle position, the inside tackles are not known as the best run stoppers, and our linebackers are a big question mark because is Quincy Williams going to take that much of a leap or jump, or is one of these young guys in Nazaldine or Sherwood, going to be healthy and be able to make a big enough jump for us to really show an improvement in that level of our defense?
It's so pivotal. Eric Mangini, I usually give Eric Mangini a little bit of flack. I've really, as far as an in-game coach goes, I would put him about as low as any in-game coaches I've seen the Jets have. I'm not saying he was as bad as Gase, but in terms of like in-game calls and things like that, I was very down on him. But he was the first coach, player, person in football who I heard use the term complementary football. And that really is what it's all about in this case, because when you have the pass rush that we expect the Jets to have at this point, well, all of a sudden you're getting 3 and outs. You're causing this team to go like 3rd and 15 instead of having a 3rd and 2 where they can pull out any play from the Rolodex that they want to use. Now, all of a sudden, you pretty much have a good feel for what they're going to do. And one of the other things, the Jets had so many obstacles to deal with last year. One of them was for most of the season, they had the worst starting field position in football. And a lot of that is because they couldn't get the other team off the field. So these teams would have good field position. They would score, things like that. The Jets weren't forcing turnovers last year. Now that you have a pass rush, you have a chance to force more fumbles, to create more interceptions. And you got a couple of new cornerbacks and a new safety who are more than up for the job, who can recognize plays and I think can create those turnovers. But that front four is going to have so much to do with that. Like, can you imagine like Zach Wilson with this offense and this offensive line, these playmakers only starting drives, a couple of drives a game at say the 40-yard line in opposing territory? Can you imagine, instead of starting from the 5 or I would say the 20-yard line, but then, we'd have our usual penalty on special teams, and then we're backed up to our own 10, and we got to go 90 yards, and already we're behind the 8 ball. So seeing something like that, having the defense step up, it can do so much for this offense because, my gosh, when you look how much they've improved on offense, that helps. But if you can have good starting field position, like if you only have 50 yards to go instead of 90 yards to go, well, that's got to make your job that much easier.
Yep. Marcel Harris or DQ Thomas, it's a big depends for me. DQ Thomas is one of those guys where you have to be able to wait. You have to wait till camp and see if where he played in college, it's hard to judge. Was he dominant because he was just a good Division I linebacker that happened to be in Division II, so he dominated? Or is he a guy that played as well as you can play at the level he was at and is perfectly capable and would have played just as dominantly if he was in Division I, but he wasn't? So it's hard to know for sure. There's no concrete evidence just because he didn't play against great competition that he's not that good enough to. But at the same time, there's a huge question mark because he hasn't done it against anything close to the level of competition like he's gonna see in the NFL. And then you have the normal thing that a rookie needs time to develop anyway, even if he is going to be a linebacker that can play at that level of competition. So, I see practice squad written all over him. Unless he's just one of those amazing surprises, which happens.
I think it makes sense. I would think he would start the season on the practice squad, but all it's going to take is one injury to Mosley or to Williams. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be a promotion because outside, who do we have? Who's our entire linebacking depth? Mosley, Williams, Sherwood, Nasruddin, Harris, Delshon Phillips, who, by the way, That's one player we don't talk about. He had the most plays on special teams last year. Del'Shawn Phillips is very likely to make this roster. Okay, I know he doesn't really contribute on defense, but he's one of those special teams. Brant Boyer is going to be. Brant Boyer gets his couple of players he gets to keep every year. Del'Shawn Phillips is very likely to be one of those guys. So when we factor in 53-man roster projections, that's a player you got to think about. But then DQ Thomas, to me, is behind all of them. I think Thomas is about 6th or 7th. It's going to take a guy on the PUP list for that to happen, for him to come up. My hope is they could sneak him on the practice squad for a little while, and then maybe about midway through the season, he could work his way up and be promoted. So, but again, the fact that Sherwood is not on the PUP list right now tells me he's good. That's how I'm going to interpret that. Nasruddin, he is one guy I cannot get a firm grip on. Is he a special teams player? Is he a linebacker? Where is his strength? What is he best at? Nasruddin, I feel like, is an enigma. We'll see what he is, but I really am not at this point. I feel like I don't have any preformed thoughts about what he is.
They certainly seem
he
to
has
believe
opportunity.
They certainly seem to believe a lot more in Sherwood. And
They
then
do.
when they didn't replace Sherwood with Nasruddin, that's not a good sign that he was anywhere near Sherwood's level last year.
They gave Sherwood the green dot on the helmet, I think, for a little bit, like when CJ wasn't playing. That tells me something, that they like him and they believe in him. They think he's smart. He communicates. That tells me something about Jamie and Sherwood, and that's something that I can get excited about. But Thomas is definitely a playmaker. He was a playmaker at Middle Tennessee. Any stat you would want to have a linebacker to have: forced fumbles, sacks, interceptions, tackles for loss. He's got all of them. So if he needs a redshirt year to adjust and maybe get some reps later on in the season, if it comes to that, then that's great. You know what? That would get him ahead of Isaiah Dunn, because Dunn made the roster, and when he played, he was awful. There isn't any way around it. I mean, that I hope. I don't know about Isaiah Dunn making the roster this season, and if it doesn't, then so be it. But we brought in 2 new cornerbacks. If Isaiah Dunn was as good as they were hoping he was, I don't think they would have done that necessarily. So, it's a very, very interesting situation. Who is the green dot again? Mosley. Yeah, it's got Maximilian. It's got to be Mosley. Yeah.
I definitely
think
he's definitely the green dot.
I think when you factor in the captains, it's not very difficult. It's on offense. If you have 2, it's Wilson, it's Tomlinson. On defense, it's Mosley, and maybe Carl Lawson. And on special teams, I would think it's Justin Hardy and Braxton Berrios. I think those are your captains. I think it's pretty cut and dry here.
Now, I want to address this as far as like the running game. I agree. There were times where the running game was not working, and it was like first down run, second down run, and you were putting Zach in bad situations. We were particularly bad on second down because they seemed to be like draw plays or delay runs where we lose yardage. It seemed like every 2nd and 5, it would end up 3rd and 8. It was like all year long.
Here's a reverse. Oh my God, the reverses we would do. You remember the reverses where we go backwards
every time?
Oh my God! Oh.
Until the last 6 games or 7 games, like LaFleur did get better. Now with Tomlinson, with Lakin Tomlinson and Becton back, if we're effective in running in first and second down, you always try. I mean, I think that's what this offense wants to do. Like San Francisco once won a playoff game. I think they threw 10 passes because they ran for 300 or 250 in the playoffs. And so if we're running on first and second down and Breece Hall and Michael Carter are going off and we're getting 7 yards of rush and we're getting first downs and running down the field, I have no problem doing that until they prove they can stop it. But once they start stopping it, now you got to start passing. You got to change it up and adjust. Oh, they're stopping it. We can't go first down, second down, run, and then run, pass, and put Zach in 3rd and 8, situations. But if we're running and it's 3rd and 1 and we're getting first downs on second down, you keep running, and then you start mixing in some play action. But you're right. If it's too conservative, if you're going to keep doing it. Run, pass, run, pass. You can't do it. You can't do it. If it's not working, you got to start passing on first down. You got to start passing maybe on second down. You got to do some screens. They got to mix it up. But I think LaFleur was getting better at that towards the end of the year.
It's true. I felt that way about Paul Hackett going back to the Herman Edwards days. I felt like he was straight out of like the Woody Hayes offense from like 1965. The 3 yards and a cloud of dust. I felt like we were way too predictable. At least back then we had Curtis Martin to run the ball, so it was a little bit more understandable. But yeah, it was like we're like a conga dancer offense: 1, 2, 3, and kick. That's basically what it was. But I wanted to address Michael's question. I never understood the stars for the captain. Can you explain that, please? Yeah, Michael. So with the captain's patch, when you see the C on the chest with the stars underneath, you'll see gold stars. You'll see basically empty stars. The gold star indicates the number of years that player has been a captain on his team. So if this is, let's say, Zach Wilson's second year's captain, hypothetically, he would have 2 gold stars and 2 blank stars on his jersey patch. That's how that works.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
I don't think the Dolphins, maybe you might argue they don't have a proven quarterback. I think it's going a little too far to say that they don't have a quarterback definitively, though. I think people are too hard on Tua. I'm not saying he's gonna star, but people are acting like he's so bad. I don't see that he's so bad. I think he's a young. I don't know that he's so bad. He's young.
He's limited. He's limited. He can do some things.
He's limited. Right. He's limited, but Alex Smith was limited.
And Alex Smith was not as mobile as Tua can potentially be.
Right.
I think this is one of those things where the Dolphins could have a quick start to the season, but I could see them tailing off as teams learn how to play them and they learn how to defend that offense. Because again, I think they're going to rely on a lot of running this season. I know they have Gesicki, I know they have Hill, but remember they revamped their entire running back room. They changed the whole. They got 3 new running backs in the fall. So to me, I expect a lot of running backs and short passes to like Tyreek Hill and Mike Gesicki and just open up space and try to make him take it down the sideline. It's going to be. I mean, if Tua is throwing the ball on a regular basis more than 25 yards, something is very, very wrong. Blitz, I absolutely agree with you. Although Miami just has an amazing tendency to screw up quarterback. In the fact that they didn't draft Drew Brees. I mean, thank God for that. Can you imagine if we had to deal with Drew Brees for 15 years?
Oh my God,
he's so much more likable that he became a saint.
Yeah. So
much.
Miami drafted Tua over Herbert.
Hill and Waddle. Yeah.
Is this true? Did Miami draft Tua over Herbert? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. They could have drafted Herbert. Oh yeah.
Oh wow, this could be their. Wow, really?
Oh yeah.
I loved Herbert in college because I used to watch him all the time for Oregon.
That's right. He played on the West Coast.
I watched him every week. I can't believe that they did that. That is similar to the Jets not taking Marino.
Yeah.
That's like the Jets not taking Marino. Yeah. Look, I don't know that Tua. I'm not gonna I'm not decided on Tua on how functional he could be, but there's no way he's Herbert. Like that was a mistake for.
Let me make sure. Yeah, let me make sure. I'm gonna pull the selections up for you.
Yeah, if they took Tua over Herbert, that's
oh my God. Yep. So number 1 was Joe Burrow to Cincinnati. This is 2020. Number 2, Chase Young to Washington. Can't argue with that. Detroit did what Detroit does. They drafted Jeff Okudah, cornerback. He's been injured ever since.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I know it's tough being a Jets fan, but can you imagine if we were Lions fans, the bitterness we would have? Oh my God. Number 4, the Giants drafted Andrew Thomas. Number 5, Miami drafted Tua, and number 6 was Justin Herbert. Yeah,
that's
one spot later. There's
no way you can argue that that was a horrible mistake by Miami.
And the other mistake that was almost as bad was the Raiders taking Henry Ruggs as the first wide receiver ahead of Jerry Jeudy, ahead of CeeDee Lamb, and ahead of Justin Jefferson.
Wow.
That is as bad.
Wow.
I know quarterback is the most pivotal position, but if you talk about screwing up, they took Henry Ruggs ahead of, I know Judy's been so far, but ahead of Lamb and Jefferson.
The Raiders have always prioritized speed and have never looked at the other factors in football players. And
cared about. They don't give a damn about character. Let's just come out and say it.
They've lost.
Unless, of course, it's something the coach said like 20 years ago. Then all of a sudden it matters.
Right.
Although it matters to the league, but we won't go there.
But it's amazing to me that what's wrong with their scouts? I mean, Tua, look, I like Tua in college. I like him. I don't like when people pick on him, but I watched Herbert every week, every Saturday, and there was no question that Tua had more physical limitations than Herbert. Herbert can throw the rock. He did in college. He threw bullets. He's got a great release. He's accurate. I don't know how they made that mistake. That's crazy to me. Crazy. That was a no-brainer. I didn't even know that happened. I got to tell you, I wasn't even aware that happened. That's crazy. We are so lucky. We are so lucky that Miami doesn't have Herbert on their team. So lucky. That's pure luck.
We got lucky with Breeze, and it looks like we've gotten very lucky with Herbert. Herbert. Now, if it was Herbert to Hill, oh my God, I would say Miami would be in the mix with Buffalo.
Dakota.
It would be on that level. Thanks, Dakota. Tell us something we don't know. I'm just having fun with you.
Daniel Murphy. What's up, Daniel Murphy?
Hey, Jordan, there's a reason we haven't seen Grandizer in a while, because this is what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, Grandizer, he's busy. He still loves the show, the channel.
Yeah, Mo. We know everyone makes mistakes, but you know what? We're talking about like the exact same position. We're not talking about everyone gives up like a Hall of Famer. You know, almost every Hall of Famer was passed over. Lawrence Taylor wasn't taken first. Walter Payton wasn't taken first. Barry Sanders wasn't taken first. But when you have like another player at the position you're targeting on the board and you don't get him, like O'Brien and Marino, absolutely. That could be considered comparable. But this, these decisions, both the Raiders and the Dolphins in that draft is just sick. Both are cardinal sense. Yeah, Brady wouldn't have been the best quarterback in his division if that was the case. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, I did.
I think I see. Hold on. Let's see. Let's scroll down. I didn't realize how far behind I was, but we have somebody I don't recognize in the chat. James. Jets have had draft blunders, but now in Joe we trust. New culture. Let's go Jets. Welcome
James,
to the channel, James.
Every general manager will have a bad draft once in a while. There'll be a bad pick, at some point. You just want to have a couple of hits every single draft. If that first draft, if it turns out to be Becton and Hall, I'm not going to factor in Mims and Braden Mance, the punter. We'll leave him to the side. But if we get two legit starters there, I would be like, okay, could have been better, but at least we had a few pieces to build off of. And then 21 and 22 look like hits. Absolutely. Now, of course, 22 hasn't happened yet, but based off what we're feeling and what everybody and their brother are projecting, we are on the rise. Zach Wilson will go a long way to how successful we view that class, but even if Zach Wilson doesn't turn out to be like a top 10 quarterback in the league, if he's just a good quarterback, well, it looks like we have a chance to get some elite players between AVT, Elijah Moore. MC2 could be that elite slot cornerback. And then if one of these guys hits on defense, if it's a Nasrul Dean, if it's a Sherwood, or even a Jonathan Marshall, we're talking about that as one of the best Jets draft classes of all time. I do not exaggerate. And we didn't need 12 rounds to pull that one off either.
But welcome, James. Welcome to the chat. Hope you're enjoying the content.
Hey, Michael Lando. I saw you subscribe to my channel to M1 Sports Wicker Media. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
Nice. And what's up, Chris Bradigan? Bradigan.
Chris, I hope it's Thursday. I hope you haven't hit the wagon too hard tonight.
Oh, he's already leaned over, laughing.
When he was on, I think that was actually him sober. That's the scary part.
Yeah, of course I like steak, man. I'm a foodie. I love steak. New York strip, buddy, medium rare.
Exactly. New York strip all the way. I'm the same way. New York strip or a porterhouse.
Well, because a fillet. I mean, look, I like all the cuts, but a fillet doesn't have the fat, doesn't have the flavor, but it's wonderful if you're not in the mood. If you're in the mood for something very tender and soft, and it has a nice dry rub. Look, I go to Ruth Chris, I get the fillet. It's wonderful. Now the ribeye, tons of flavor, love the flavor, but sometimes a little rough.
Yeah, and
The-
so much
the-
fat. It's just too fatty for me. I feel like I got to trim off all this fat. Like you get a tomahawk ribeye, like in Fresh Market, I'll get some good meat deals, but like a tomahawk ribeye, you're spending all this money, like $15-$20 per pound for steak. But a lot of that is the bone. You're not going
Right.
to eat. Now, if you have a dog who can handle it, God bless him. But I
Right.
don't want to. I don't want to be spending all my money on a bone that I'm not going to eat. What's the point of that?
Right. The strip is the best combination of still you can make it medium rare and very tender and very flavorful. The right balance of right. Yeah, that's my
I
favorite.
agree. I agree. And for like a cheaper cut that works out really well, that I think people don't spend enough time on, a good flank steak. If you marinate it a little bit and season it nicely, like I like little Trader Joe's. They got this chili lime rub. It's so good. A dry rub. You put that on like chicken. Chicken it works great on, but on like some flank steak, and you could go like Southwest with that with some fajitas or something like that. Some little guacamole with that. Ooh, you're living large, and you didn't need to spend like $15 a pound for the steak. It's delicious.
And guys, that wasn't a paid sponsorship by the USDA meat company or anything like
Beef.
that.
It's what's for dinner.
Eat more beef. Okay. In 2017, the Jets started Josh McCown and drafted Adams, and they should have took Mahomes or Watson.
Well, we had Hackenberg. Why would we draft a quarterback?
That was why everybody hates. That was the worst part of the Hackenberg pick, because they had taken Hackenberg the previous year. They didn't take a quarterback. But you know what? I'm moving forward. I don't want to change history because I'm happy with where this team is going right now. So at that time, I would have loved if they had done that. But now we're in 2022, where we are right now, and I'm going to just be happy about what we have right now, and where we're heading right now. But yes, now that we have Joe Douglas, hopefully we're not going to see those kind of mistakes. I don't see Joe Douglas ever taking Hackenberg in the second round if he's the GM.
And some guy, I got to say that, some guy got to say this, first of all. You could get on the Jets for not drafting Mahomes or Watson, drafting Jamal Adams. At least Jamal Adams was a legit player for us, number one. I know it's only safety, but he was a very good player when he was a Jet. What about the Bears? They traded up in that draft, and they drafted Mitch Trubisky. The Bears look 50 times worse than the Jets do as far as that draft goes. And I still wonder, with that coaching staff that we had, those playmakers we had, that offensive line we had, how good would Watson or Mahomes really have? Mahomes still would have been, I think, very good. I don't know how good Deshaun Watson would have been. And even if he had been good, you know what? He would have gotten hurt probably. With what we had in place at that period of time, we would have ruined Joe Montana. I really think that, because that environment, Lamar Jackson, put it this way, Lamar Jackson in that class with Baker, with Darnold, with Rosen, with Josh Allen, would Lamar Jackson have been as successful as he was anywhere else if he didn't go to Baltimore? I don't think he would have been. Would he have succeeded with the Jets, with the Browns? I would, it's just being hypothetical. I can't imagine a scenario where that would have happened. But the Bills knew how they had to build around Josh Allen. The Ravens figured out how they had to customize their offense to suit Lamar Jackson, and they did that. The Jets never did that for Sam Darnold. Now it looks like they're starting to do that with Zach Wilson. That's why they invested in Laken Tomlinson, C.J. Uzomah, Tyler Conklin, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson. That's why they kept Braxton Berrios. That's why they kept his bromance partner. And that's why they drafted Breece Hall. Look how young these guys are. Look what a short period of time they've all been here. All these guys are brand new, and now it's all going to come together. The question is, how quickly can Robert Saleh and Mike LaFleur make it? Bring all the ingredients together, put them in the pot, and make the soup. To use the analogy, you got the ingredients, but now you got to bring it together and make it into one substance, and that's what they have to figure out how to do.
What's up, Friggle D? Good to see you here. I peeked. Friggle D doesn't like Ruth Chris. I don't know what cut you got. I agree. They don't do any cut well except the fillet. So if you didn't get the fillet, that's why you didn't like it. When you go to Ruth Chris, you got to get the fillet.
I've been there
and
so
you got to
long.
get it medium. You got to get it medium rare. You get the fillet with the cream spinach. I don't see how you can't like that. It's a perfect
Yeah,
dinner.
cream spinach may be the best side for a steak. I mean, cream spinach doesn't go well with much outside of a steak, but it goes so well with a steak. It's very interesting. Yeah, cream spinach. Yeah, there's your 30-second breakdown of cream spinach. Everybody, hope you appreciate it. I love it. I actually put some yeah, I actually have like actual nutmeg, like actual like pieces of fresh nutmeg. I'll actually grate it in. It really makes such a good difference in the cream spinach. It's great. Dude, that may be my first Jets memory is watching Al Toon play wide receiver. That's the first thing that I remember is Al Toon.
Yeah, I'm a 40-year Jets fan, and I feel the same way as James. I'm excited more than ever. Not just about like this year. I'm not saying I'm excited this year for this season more than ever. I'm excited more about the next 10 years or the next 5 to 10 years than ever. Like I'm super excited about what we have here. And as long as JD stays, and the key things to me are JD stays, obviously, which we have him locked up for another few years, so that's fine. But really, like to be a long term, that JD gets re-signed and he works out and he stays and is a career Jet GM, that Zach Wilson is a hit and works, and that Coach Saleh is the right guy. If those three things all hit, we're in. Because the roster sure as hell around those three guys, the roster we have around Zach Wilson and the coaches around Saleh, I mean, all the other things are there. We just need the quarterback and coach to rise, and we're great.
Yeah. And we know with Robert Saleh, the players love playing for him. They want him to be a great coach. That means something. To me, Robert Saleh needs to prove that he is a good in-game coach. Now, here's what I did like. 4th downs. He had a very good feel on when to go for it, when not to go for it. Challenges, he was doing pretty well. But there were too many communication breakdowns. That was something that concerned me. He has to be more ready, in my opinion, for anything that could happen at any given time. I don't care if he's yelling on the sideline. I don't care if he's sitting there like he could be Tom Landry. He could be Andy Reid. He could be Tom Coughlin. He could have any personality. I don't care. I just care that the players play hard and that he is prepared and he makes the right decision at the pivotal moments of the game. Personality does not matter. It just matters that you can inspire your players and you put them in a position to win. But it was so cool. Go ahead.
J. Cole is asking you if he should invite me back to his wedding, or is it too soon?
Number one, that implies that there's a few implications here. Number one, that he's getting married. 2, that I'm going to the wedding. Number 3, that I have the power to invite anybody to the wedding. So that's the strike 1, strike 2, strike 3.
There's also the particular challenge that he doesn't even have the girl yet. So that's a problem.
I think J. Cole, I think his ideal world is he would go from 0 to 5 girls. I think that's what he's looking for in his life. Garrett Wilson already over Al Toon. Okay. Well, definitely not when it comes to playing golf.
We're going to as well. Marino, Smith, and Rice. I would have moved to New York. Well, man, Marino with Jerry Rice. Wow. We didn't even get to see that in the Pro Bowl games, because they were on opposite sides.
Instead, we got Kenny O'Brien, Blair Thomas, and we drafted Al Toon over Jerry Rice. And, it would have been nice if he didn't get the concussions.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Toon except the concussions. Like, I would never regret that in any situation because he was so good. You can't knock anybody for taking him. He no matter who is available, because Toon, without the concussions, was just maybe as good as any Jet we've ever had. He was amazing. Bradigan says we're correct.
Yeah, we got to catch up. Yeah.
I know. It's like,
oh gosh. Oh, he didn't. Yeah.
A real deal wants to be.
Wow.
If I go to Florida, I'm going to his restaurant.
Yeah. What kind of? Yeah. I was just. Yeah. Harlan, you're in timeout for 5 minutes for that comment.
What?
He said you should have the steak well done. That's.
Oh no.
Unacceptable. What kind of restaurant does James have? Do you know?
We'll find out. I don't know, James.
Okay.
I don't think.
Hey,
somebody has been in here, but it's a different person who has a restaurant also that was telling us we need to come.
Link to the Y2K site. Okay. Yeah, I'll put up.
Well,
Yeah, Daniel Faust is making a. I'm going to get back to Mo on this one. Put a link to the Y2K site. Yeah, I'll put up my blog up there. But yeah, you can just find my channel, NY Sports Wicker Media. I want to address Mo. Now, we know Mo is not a Zach fan, but he said the Jets took Sam Darnold instead of Josh Allen. That is pretty comparable to Tua and Herbert.
yeah.
If the Jets took Josh Allen, do we really think he would be the Josh Allen that he was? I just can't think of a single quarterback that would have thrived in spite of what he had to work with at that time.
But there are some differences though. Like to me, it was much clearer that Justin Herbert was better than Tua. Like to me, there was no question that Justin Herbert was the man. Like he was the man. I don't understand how he wasn't, like how that's possible. But a lot of people were saying that Josh Allen, out of the quarterbacks in that class, was the biggest risk, development project, less proven. Now,
inaccurate. He was not accurate with the deep ball.
Now, I loved him. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not saying we pick him at that spot. I wouldn't have minded if we would have traded back a few spots and grabbed Josh Allen. That was my attitude about it. I loved him because and that's why I love Zach Wilson. I love quarterbacks like that. I love mobile quarterbacks with those live arms that could make crazy throws off script. I love that kind of quarterback, but I can't knock anyone. I can't knock them for that. Every GM would have taken Sam Darnold over Josh Allen practically, I think, in the draft.
I absolutely agree.
Come on. There's no one was taking Josh Allen above Sam Darnold. Unless they believed in him so much they traded back and took him. But even that is a stretch.
So much of his quarterback success, a lot of it is what you have to work with. What's your coaching staff like? Does your offensive line give you time to block? Who are you throwing the ball to? All those things matter in a quarterback's success. Flanagan's in Weston, Florida. Is Weston, Florida on the west side? It would be funny if Weston, Florida was on the East Coast.
Well, is he talking about the Weston, like the Western, like the Western?
I think Weston is probably the name of a town. I'm willing to bet. I'll check it really quick.
Flanagan sounds like a hooligans or a.
I'm thinking seafood. I'm thinking steaks and seafood. Is that? I'm getting that vibe. I'm definitely thinking some good seafood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Weston, Florida.
This could be my new best friend.
Here we go. Let's go to the map. All right. So if I leave right now, James, if I leave now, I'll be there in 14 hours and 14 minutes. Weston is not that far from Miami. It's like a little bit northwest of downtown Miami. It's straight west of Fort Lauderdale. So it's not exactly on the water. There's a little inlet kind of by it. It's right by the Cleveland Clinic. Okay. Here it is. Let's go to Flanagan's. Yes, we're going to give our buddy James here a little plug here. So Flanagan's Seafood Bar and Grill. All right, there we go. Yeah, I like some good seafood. When it's fresh, Flanagan, it's a wonderful thing. Flanagan's with an I.
Ribs, wings, seafood, and steaks.
Ribs. You know what? Ribs to me are one of those things. When they're done right, they're unbelievable. When they're bad, they suck. Like even a bad wing is good as long as it's cooked. But if
there's so much that go on, there's so much good that go into wings. First of all, there's two factors, right? The way it's cooked, because it's got to be where it pulls off the bone and has and is not chewy or rough or leathery. It has to be good tender meat that comes off the bone. And then the second part of that is the rub or the wet sauce, whatever it is, the flavor.
Yeah.
Because if it's like a disgusting jarred kind of barbecue sauce, it's awful. Like if it's overly sweet, like it's got to be a good sauce. Or a good dry rub. So there's a lot to it. But man, you're right. Ribs could be either amazing or they could be really, really just not even.
They're good. I mean, I could cook, but I tried doing like a slow cooker ribs thing that I saw from a place that I trust, and there was just so much liquid that they were starting to fall apart. Like the ribs were literally coming off the bone. Fall off the bone is not what you want from the ribs. When you bite into them, you want them to come off easily, but you don't want to like pick the rib up by the bone and all the meat falls right off. That's no good. At that point, there's no point in even having the rib. It's just a bunch of boneless pork. So that's no good. So, but I will tell you this: there's a place, and I've mentioned it to you, the Dirty Buffalo. and they have a bunch of different dry rubs and a bunch of different sauces, but they do tag team wings, and they combined these dry rubs and the sauces, and they named them after famous wrestling tag teams. So you got your Outsiders wings, your New Day wings, your Bushwhackers wings, and all this kind of stuff, and they're fantastic. You go as hot as you want or as mild as you want, but I like combining that dry rub with the sauce because you're just getting that much more flavor. The creativity is so cool. Hey, Eric, good to see you.
Shout out Eric. We haven't seen him in a while, I think. I don't know. I don't remember seeing him lately. Eric, what's up, buddy?
Hey,
Hope
Eric.
you're doing good. You ready for a great season? I hope you are, because it's gonna be amazing. Daniel Murphy says that that his wife grew up there.
Daniel Murphy said his wife grew up where?
Do you live anywhere close
Amherst,
to Amherst,
Virginia? You know what? I know Amherst, Massachusetts, but I don't know Amherst, Virginia. Virginia is such a big state. Like, there's so many different parts to Virginia. You've got the coal mines on the west side with Roanoke. You've got Nova by DC. You've got the middle of the state with Richmond and Charlottesville. You've got Hampton Roads / Tidewater, where I am. So Amherst is by Lynchburg. Amherst is 3 hours west of where I live. So I have not been to Amherst. So yeah, Lynchburg is over by where Virginia Tech is. It's towards that area. It's a little bit southwest of Charlottesville. So yeah, it would take me 3 hours. Yeah, you do have to cook them at a low temperature, but you know what? If you're not smoking the ribs, if there isn't some smoke or a grill involved, it's very difficult to get them right.
I do. I have
hard.
a whatchamacallit pot, the pressure cooker
Instapot?
pot. I have
Okay.
Instapot, and I've made some pretty awesome wings with my Instapot. What I do is I put them in for like 70 minutes, and then they're like falling off the bone, and then I put them on a broiler, and I put them under the broiler for a few minutes, let it start sizzling, turn it upside down, let it start sizzling. So now it's like getting crisp on both sides, the bone and the meat side. Then I put on this amazing sauce, this barbecue sauce, and then I put it back in for like a minute or 2 minutes just to get the sauce hot until it's bubbling. And that's, to me, it's perfect. It falls right off the bone. It's wonderful. So that's how I make ribs at home.
That sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, I haven't done a whole lot of ribs. I got them at Costco. I got what I thought was 2 racks of ribs at Costco. It turned out to be 3. So I made 2 racks at one time, and I made my own rub and whatnot. And it's a good thing I had that bourbon barrel-aged barbecue sauce, because that was about the only way I got through it. So I got 1 rack left. Next time I cook it, I will not be getting the slow cooker involved. No chance. Chris Bradigan, this is tag team wings. What are these? Yeah, I'm sure it was a good comment. Sorry about that, Chris.
Oh,
Mommy said she's got the baby tonight. Okay.
That explains it.
All right.
Dada. Aw, you have a baby. That's really cute. Eric Craig, you got a baby. Don't let that baby anywhere near me with my bourbon.
Where's the hot?
Drinking my
I want to go back
bourbon.
to Chris's comment. Where's the hot ones? Demolition or the Road Warriors? You know what? I think they actually have Road Warriors wings. I don't know. I don't think they have Demolition, but I do know, if you're a wrestling fan, if you know Kofi Kingston, I know they got like a little bit of a Jamaican flavor in tribute to Kofi Kingston, which is funny because he used the fake Jamaican accent for so long. So that one actually, I do kind of like that one. But I'll pull up the menu.
Wasn't one of the guys from Demolition the fake Undertaker for a while?
No.
Like some other tag team.
No. You're close, because Brian Adams was Crush. He was the 3rd member, rest his soul. But the Underfaker was primetime Brian Lee, who was a very good. Yeah, both of whom were good friends of the Undertaker. I think he and Lee and the Undertaker fell out, but Brian Lee went on to be Chains, part of the Disciples of Apocalypse during the Attitude Era. I think what Brian Lee was very well known for, he had a famous match in ECW with Tommy Dreamer, and they had a fight up on the scaffold, and the ring was filled with tables. And the idea was to knock your opponent off the scaffold through the tables. And it's one of the most famous bumps in the history of pro wrestling, when Brian Lee falls off the scaffold and threw about 9 tables into the ring. It was, it was rather scary to watch. So I'm going to pull this menu up.
Okay. The hottest sauce I ever ate, I think me and my brothers agreed. I have another channel. It's my brother's channel that we do together called Cravat Attack. And we did a hot sauce called It's from Karma, called Karma Hot Sauce Company, and they make a sauce called Ashes to Ashes, and it's basically a Reaper sauce. It's Reaper. It's the Carolina Reaper crushed with some vinegar, and that was I think our hottest rated sauce. And my God, did it?
Yeah.
Man, it killed me.
Oh man,
Killed me.
I got the tag team wings up here, so I'm going to give you the dry rub and the sauce flavor, and tell me if this is something you would go for. Plus, it has the heat level 1 through 5. So I'll tell you what they are. First, the Outsiders, which is garlic Parmesan sauce and a Cajun rub, heat level 2. What do you think?
Probably delicious, not hot, but delicious.
They are amazing. I can tell you that is maybe my go-to wing when I go to Dirty Buffalo. It is that good. The New Day. It's a new day. Yes, it is. Buffalo Soldier sauce and sweet Jamaican rub. So you have a little sweet, spicy, a little bit of Caribbean flavor to it. Those a little touch of Scotch bonnet pepper, but not a whole lot of it. So this one's like more medium.
Yeah, I mean, I'd eat them.
This one's interesting. Red Dragon, which is the name of Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly when they were in Ring of Honor. Korean barbecue sauce and mango habanero rub.
I love that.
Crazy? Isn't that interesting?
Great. That sounds great.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right. The hottest one is the Legion of Doom. Stupid hot sauce. This is the one where you got to sign the waiver. And Cajun rub. So pure heat with some Cajun spice with some cayenne on it. Could you handle a 5? You can handle that hot?
I don't think it would be enjoyable because it sounds like to me like it's an extract. It doesn't sound like they're using a hot sauce. It sounds like they're using an extract, like the bomb beyond inside, like that kind of thing. They're using an extract, and that's not a natural sauce. Those always taste like acid. They're meant just to be burn. It's like, yeah, me and my brothers will try it. Like we're gonna do live on Sunday. Me and my brothers are gonna go live and do on Cravat Attack and do the bomb against Insanity, so you can see me turn red and suffer. But it's not a sauce I would ever care about and put on food. I would never waste my appetite on wings like that because not only because it's too hot. I mean, if the Last Dab is crazy hot, but it's delicious at least.
At least that's flavor. You
There's
have
a
to keep it
reason
better.
to
Have
eat it.
flavor.
So that sounds like it's just extract, like it's just burn your mouth off pain. I don't see the point in it. You know, maybe if you put them in front of me and I was live and we did a thing where if you do a $50 super chat, I'll eat one. I would do that, but like I'm not eating it for any other reason other than somebody's willing to pay me.
You're underselling it. I would go about 100 for that one.
Really?
The rest of these are 2s and 3s. So the Money Incorporated, just because it's Ted DiBiase. I actually met Ted DiBiase at a church in suburban Chicago one time. Then I got to have lunch with him and a few other men from the church, and he was fantastic. Cajun buffalo sauce and a ranch rub. What do you think about that? Dry rub ranch. I'm not a big ranch guy myself.
Yeah, I used to be more of a ranch guy. It used to be my coolant that I would eat, but like the more the more I taste it, the more I'm like, why didn't I just get blue cheese?
Yeah, I'm a blue cheese guy.
Ranch is a little bit like getting like a lot of times it's sour. It's like a sour kind of taste. I'm not into it.
I never understood the people like when I was working at a pizza place, the people who would ask for all these ramekins of ranch dressing to dip their pizza crust in. It's just like I never got that. I don't know. Yo, it's Vin. We're gonna keep going here. The New Age Outlaws. We got sweet buffalo sauce and straight Old Bay rub. I think that one sounds pretty good. If you like the Old Bay rub to me is a little bit. You really taste the celery salt when you have Old Bay. I don't know how much Old Bay you've had, but people love it in Maryland. It's a big Baltimore thing, especially on crab. But to me, you really taste celery salt for me. So I'm not the biggest Old Bay guy. So, all right. Then we have got the Harlem Heat, which is a level 2. You get medium buffalo sauce and garlic lemon pepper rub. So garlic lemon pepper with buffalo sauce. That could be pretty good.
Yeah. I could add the little peppery taste to the vinegar and the lemon. I could see that working. Maybe a little citrusy, but definitely gonna like a explosion of flavor, like that tangy flavor.
Harlan, I gotta get you on one thing. Ivan Putski Polish Power. It wasn't Ivan Putski. It was Wahoo McDaniel, who was in the '60s. who was a big linebacker. He was really the first star the Jets had before Namath came along.
Chief
But it
Wahoo
was-
McDaniel.
Chief Wahoo McDaniel was a New York Jet.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. Wahoo!
Remember when
That
he was
the PA announcer would yell, "That tackle was made by who?" And the crowd goes, "Wahoo!"
That's awesome. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, true story.
Wow,
That's
I
funny.
had no idea. I watched him wrestle when he won the belts, the tag team belts with his brother, and they hugged and cried and said, "We can go home now. We can go home now."
Wow. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
that's
very,
true.
very cheesy moment.
I'll give you two more wing flavors here. One of my favorites, but I'm just going to do something. I think you'll know who this is.
Bushwhacker.
Very good.
Jim Maxwell.
Spicy barbecue sauce and Old Bay rub. One of my favorites. That is one of my absolute favorites that they have, along with the Outsiders rub, Outsider sauce. So that's only a level 2, but it works really well. And the last one, I'll be interested to get your thought on this: the Natural Disasters margarita buffalo sauce and mango habanero rub. Now, how often do you see mango habanero as a dry rub as opposed to a sauce? You know.
I mean, I love mango habanero. Like, I love that flavor thing.
It's
like
good.
I mean,
so good.
any mango habanero hot sauce I've ever had, it's always one I grab off the shelf, and like I love it. So
yeah, I just make mine.
Yeah.
I make my own mango habanero in the summertime, and it lasts a long time.
I mean, I go to Trader Joe's and buy the dried mango with chili powder. I love it. You ever get that in Trader Joe's?
Is that like in the bulk section, like with the dried fruits and the nuts?
Look at all the dried fruits. You'll see dried mango with chili powder. It's delicious.
That sounds really good. Yeah,
It's
I wasn't
really
a mango
good.
fan until very recently. Now it's like I'm not going to necessarily eat a mango, but if it's like a mango salsa is with like a fish taco is amazing. You're welcome, Michael.
Hackshaw Jim Duggan. I always confuse that with the Bushwhackers, who used to crack me up because one would put the other in a headlock and lick his head.
That and then they do the battering ram. Yeah,
Yeah, but the licking of the head was what killed me.
Nowadays you probably get banned. You can't do that anymore. Oh well.
Gordon
Cousin
Ramsay.
Luke, Cousin Bush. I remember when the Bushwhackers were on Family Matters back in the day, wrestling Carl and Steve Urkel. I still remember that.
Do you know who won the first Royal Rumble ever?
Absolutely. I sure do. It was Hacksaw Jim Duggan eliminating the one-man gang in Hamilton, Ontario in 1988.
Oh!
Back then it was only 20 guys. I was a huge Duggan fan back in the day. Or his brother Love would call him, just one moment, Brother Dugan. Yeah, we'll give you some old school wrestling, some 80s and 90s wrestling. Yeah, we're good with that. You never know where this might go.
So funny.
Oh, yeah. No snacks tonight for you, man? Have you already eaten? How you feeling?
Me? No, I'm actually have to go down and cook soon. We have some chicken thighs that's marinating in shawarma sauce. Like it's
I like it.
Chicken
I
shawarma.
just got some chicken thighs from Trader Joe's myself. I did like this. I did a spice rub chicken. I actually brought a whole chicken from Lidl, which is it's like a German grocery store, but it's kind of like Aldi. You can get some good value here. I think it's very regional. But I was able to get like a whole chicken, $1.99 a pound, and I got 30% off of that. So it was like an $8 whole chicken, which is pretty good. And butchered that up, cut the breast pieces in half, made a dry rub with brown sugar, chili powder, paprika, salt, pepper, garlic. Let it sit overnight. Just baked it for about 25 minutes and just let it cool down. You get that crisp skin. And oh my gosh, I paired that with a little mac and cheese, a little broccoli, and it was just such an easy chicken recipe, but it was so good. A little sweet and a little spice. So good. Dan Spivey, yep, Chris Radigan's right. Dan Spivey also played for the Jets. Dangerous Dan Spivey, also known as Waylon Mercy. You know what I mean? One of the most underrated gimmicks that we never got to see what it was. Yeah, Dan Spivey was fantastic. Remember the Skyscrapers tag team with both Sid Vicious and The Undertaker, Mean Mark at the time. And Dan Spivey was also in WWE for a little bit in the 80s. But that Waylon Mercy really inspired Bray Wyatt. in later years. If you ever saw Bray Wyatt in the early days when he would wear the Hawaiian shirts, that was straight out of the Waylon Mercy playbook.
That's wow. It's taking me back, man. Memories.
I got. It's sad that I have so much of this stored in my memory. It's sad, and I know that.
I mean, look, it's not an uncommon thing. Like for football players, the Rock, played for Miami University, defensive lineman, right? Well, he's an edge. I think.
He did. I think he played defensive tackle. You know who took his job after he got hurt?
Oh,
Some jabroni named Warren Sapp.
oh my God, that's crazy.
Warren Sapp took the Rock's job. It's true.
That would have been a great angle or story like that if Warren Sapp retired and then came to the WWE and said, "I'm taking your spot." If you smell la la la.
The only way it could have been better is if they actually did it in Miami. Yeah. Warren Sapp would have been tailor-made for pro wrestling. It's amazing he never made an appearance on any of the shows. He definitely had the personality to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess he made enough money where he didn't have to do it. Why am I? I'm gonna. Okay. Yep. So Hank G, this is a very deep question for me. I have been an avid Ring of Honor fan going back to 2005 in Chicago. If you watch any Ring of Honor show from Chicago from 05 on, you will see me in a Jets jersey, most likely a Chad Pennington jersey. I went to every show. Ring of Honor, I was devoted to it. I have over 150 DVDs from Ring of Honor. And yeah, to me, wrestling without them, it's not the same. I know they're technically still around. I know Tony Khan brought them. I'm sorry. To me, this is like when WWE brought ECW and ran it as the lesser brand. To me, Ring of Honor is not the priority. And to me, AEW is where Ring of Honor should have been for all these years. Because you name a guy in WWE outside of like Roman Reigns, chances are they went through Ring of Honor. And I feel very fortunate that I got to Dom C. What's the DVD? That's right. You still have VHS tapes in your closet. I should have mentioned the VCR. I apologize. But yeah, I'm so happy that I got to go to so many shows, sing karaoke with so many wrestlers. Seeing one of my best friends and Brian Danielson sing "I Want It That Way" on a duet. Oh my God, I can't erase that memory no matter how hard I try. I wasn't the type of guy who would stay out all night, but I would stay out till 3 a.m, like to eat that double-decker pizza, to sing those karaoke songs with, like, if you know Adam Pearce, who's on WWE TV now as an authority figure, he and I knew each other very well. Yeah, I've got so many great memories from that, like 2005 to 2016 Ring of Honor, and I'm so glad because there was nothing like being a fan of ROH back then. Nothing like it.
I was like kind of falling out of it at that time. I've been in and out of wrestling, but I was diehard in the 80s, though. I was diehard fan in the 80s, some of the 90s, then came back a little, on and off. But like I saw The Rock right when he turned. Like they were in San Jose, and we were there right when he became a good guy. Like literally, like I forgot how he did it, but it was like really dramatic. And this friend of mine, her name was Summer, she loved him anyway when he was a heel. So she was so happy that he turned face. She was like going crazy. And we watched it happen. It was pretty awesome.
Max, why am I not doing a wrestling podcast? You know what? I don't know how I would format it. I don't know what I would talk about or what I would do. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I could talk about a certain wrestler or a certain show, a certain card. I could do it in article form. I just wonder what the audience would be. It's just a matter of figuring out how to format it. But if it's something people want, I would, I'd definitely give it a shot because, I love it. But I feel like now that I'm 40, I'm not quite where I was. I still watch WWE. I follow it, but I'm not as devoted as I was. If I gotta be real with you. Actually, I'll tell you one story. I was just one funny little thing. So I went to high school in Chicago, and then we did our senior trip to Denver. We did horseback riding, whitewater rafting, like rock jumping on the mountains, all kinds of cool stuff. We were flying back that day, and we had to be at the church that night for baccalaureate. that was Saturday night. Graduation was going to be Sunday, so this was like the early like church ceremony because I went to a Christian high school. Our flight was delayed a little while in Denver. I'm just walking through the terminal. This guy's passing by me with dark sunglasses and a ponytail and like I think probably the Zubaz sweatpants. I'm like, Rob Van Dam, and it was
my
RVD.
God.
And I got to talk with RV. This is when ECW was on TNN. I think he had just come back from his broken ankle, and I talked with him for about 10 or 15 minutes. Really cool guy. I don't know if weed was allowed in the Denver airport at the time, so he probably had to. He was probably in withdrawal symptoms. But yeah, Van Dam was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and just running into him in the airport randomly with nobody else around him. That was pretty awesome meeting Rob. And Chris is very right. What Kevin Steen, now Kevin Owens, one of the best promo dude ever. He is awesome. Kevin Steen is amazing. Always has been.
It's amazing how much people appreciate that because he was so popular because of that, right? Like people who do good promos. There's like wrestling fans went from the 80s, it changed. They went from just like, you know what I mean? It changed so much. They start to really appreciate the effort, like like that the wrestlers put into their characters, or just the commitment, or then even the hits that they're willing to take, the falls and whatever. Like it became so much more intense, like in what people would appreciate.
It's true. So I can tell you Kevin Steen's situation. So there was a period where Kevin Steen was kind of on the outs from Ring of Honor, where he was like the outcast. He was injured. He was like kind of like the rebel trying to like get back in, but he was like at the outsider. He was like kind of like playing the Stone Cold sort of role, sort of like the Stone Cold Steve Austin. So we're doing they have the autograph signings in Chicago before the show, and they'd have typically 5 or 6 guys you'd get your autographs from. And you have to pay like $20 for an autograph or something like that, 30 for an autograph and a picture, whatever it was back then. And I remember they were advertising a couple guys, probably the Briscoes, Davey Richards, who was the Ring of Honor world champion at the time, one of my favorites ever. I got to take my picture with him. So they have like a whole table. Everything is super organized. All of a sudden, so there's a bunch of us in line. Out comes Kevin Steen with like an old beat up table. He opens it himself, takes out a little folding chair, sits down. Who wants my autograph? Who wants my autograph? And all of a sudden, all these people are lined up for the Briscoes or Davey Richards or Christopher Daniels. Out of line they go. He's signing autographs for free. He gives me a big hug like this. From the side, a big hug, because he's trying to, not because he was happy to see me or us. He was like being a smart ass and telling Ring of Honor, no, I'm such a nice guy. I'm a corporate guy. You want to make me out to be the bad guy. Look how nice I am to all the fans. So I got to take my picture with him for free and get an autograph just so he could tell the company to shove it. I mean, how genius is that by Steen and the company to put him in that position? And the fans, it helped establish his character when the cameras were not on, which is great. And the fans felt like they got away with something because they were able to get a free autograph and picture with Kevin Steen, now Kevin Owens. It was so
amazing.
Cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was great. Yeah, it's very hard for me to watch AEW. As much talent as they may have, it just upsets me because of the way they use Ring of Honor, and then they wound up buying the company. It just doesn't sit well with me how it happened. It's okay. Right. I just choose to not watch it, and I hope some of their guys come back to WWE because I miss the Adam Coles and the Bryan Danielsons of the world for sure. I absolutely Samoa Joe. I love Samoa Joe. But
Samoa Joe, man, he was nasty. Yeah,
Joe's awesome. Joe's like the coolest guy that you would never want to screw with. I'm a human almanac on certain topics. When I get going, I can get going on certain things. But you know what? We all have certain things that we love, and there's probably guys in here who could tell me about fixing cars, and I wouldn't know the first thing about it. My extent of fixing a car is raising the hood, looking down in it. That's all. I can't do anything else. If you ever see my leg sticking out from under a car, just call 911 because something bad has happened. That's all I can tell you.
Salty Nolte is in here.
Hey, Grandizer.
Jets fan, old Dave Etry. All these guys just kind of came in out of nowhere. Like Jim Pock is here, by the way. If I didn't call him out before, it's like there was a whole facelift of the chat. Rob V came. Like there's some guys who stayed, but then all these other
Look at
guys
this.
just swarmed in. Hank G.
What
but
was
he's been
it?
here
What
for
was
a
it?
while.
I wonder what the magic word was, Jeremy. Something happened.
I don't know, man. We started talking about wrestling. Maybe you
I know.
should start a wrestling channel.
We went from food to wrestling. You know, if I could come up with a format where people would want it, it's like I don't know if I'd put on the wicker. I have so many things I'd be covering. I feel like with the Mets, Jets, and Rangers, that's enough right there. But hey, shoot, if people want it, then you know, there's a lot of good content providers for wrestling out there. But you know, I could certainly tell my stories and talk about my memories and things like that. But I feel like I would have to get up on the tech. Like I'd have to show some video or do something to really, because I wouldn't want to just
You
talk.
can certainly create, like a separate
Yeah.
playlist. So,
I got playlists going. I got a Mets, Jets, and Rangers playlist.
yeah,
So we
right.
got
So
that
if you had
going.
if you had a wrestling playlist, then people can't. It's not like anybody's going to complain. It's just like, look, if you're not into it, don't watch videos from that playlist. That's all.
Yeah, that's all. I won't take it personal. Hey, as long as you watch something, give it a like, share it with somebody. I am more than happy. I mean, the Jets videos get more attention than any of them. So, which Buffalo was right. I came in right at the wrong time. I came in on the back end of the off season, but that's okay.
That's the one thing you have to learn about YouTube, though. There are people who don't understand that. Like, it's like it's a channel. So someone will say, like, I don't like what you did on Friday night. There was too much goofing around, and I'm like, but it's a channel. That's a different show. The Wacky Wednesday show and the Friday Night Hangout were different shows. You don't have to watch the Friday show if you don't like the Friday show. The Sunday show is a different show with Dom C. It was like a different concept. It's like you're allowed to pick your shows. When, like, if you watched NBC, you didn't say, I'm never watching NBC again because I didn't like Family Ties. You'd still watch Cheers. It's a channel. But I literally, moved the Friday Night Hangout, like me and Nick decided together, let's just put it on his channel to give him a show that already had an audience, because too many people are just making the connection of, they're judging everything by one show, even though they're different shows. It's like people looking at you talking about the Mets and saying, well, I'm not into the Mets, I'm into the Yankees, and not even though they like the Rangers and the Jets.
Right.
They should still watch you for the Rangers and the Jets.
Yeah, just hey, Jake Asman. I don't watch the Houston Texan videos that Jake puts out, or any of the Houston sports videos,
Right.
But I'll still watch the Jets ones and I'll give them a like. So, yeah, it's talking about Honor No More. And Opcraft is the faction that got over there. Eagles have a lot. Are we transitioning back to football now?
Well, I mean, I got a super chat, so I have to honor that. And not that I have to. I'm honored. A pleasure to do that. Thank you very much. Very much. Thank you very much for the super chat, Daniel. I appreciate it.
We appreciate
very
it. Very
nice of you. And the Eagles have a lot of hype. If we play who wins,
we won't. Preseason. Does a preseason game count?
No, I don't think we're counting preseason. Look, I think last year they beat us. They had a good offseason also. I mean, they'd be the favorite. I think we could beat them. I'm pissed off that we didn't last year. I thought the first half we very easily could have won that game, and I don't know what happened the second half. We just stunk. Our defense couldn't do anything. This year we have 5 new starters on defense. It's a brand new defense. So could it be different? If we can stop the run, it could. And if we could stop, if we can get to the quarterback and not let the quarterback be so comfortable back there. But the Eagles are really good. I think it's a very well-matched game. I think the Eagles are a very good team.
I think so too. I think the Eagles and Cowboys are going to be in a race for the NFC East pretty much the entire season. I think it's going to come down to the final week of the season. You know what? We don't have to play them, so not something we have to worry about. Let's see what Jalen Hurts is. I think a lot of people have anointed him already. I do think the Eagles had a fantastic draft, which they should have had, considering the abundance of first-round picks they wound up with. So, yeah, I definitely think they're on the way up. I still don't know what their coach really is, but I definitely think they're a very well-rounded team. I don't know if there's anything they do exceptionally well, but I feel like they don't have any glaring weaknesses. And you know what? In the NFC, that may be enough to go a pretty long way. So, yeah, I want to respond to Hank's comment really quick here.
Sure.
Just real quick. What outcome was I hoping for Ring of Honor? Live TV at some point, but when AEW formed and all that talent left, I knew it was going to be difficult for them to come back. And yeah, after that, it was never really the same. But yeah, I feel like this is a lesser version of it. Even though there is the talent there, I know it's not the priority. Put it this way: when it's a Ring of Honor show and I see a freaking AEW barricade, that's all I need on the barricade or on the screen. That's all I need to know. So that's all I have to say. Chris Bradigan, you're exactly right. Allstate Arena is unbelievable. I've been there for quite a few shows. I was there for most notably probably Cena versus Punk at Money in the Bank. I don't know if I've heard a louder building in my life than that match when Punk took the title from Cena. That was chill. And even better, I was sitting next to about 5 or 6 kids all wearing "You Can't See Me" shirts for Cena. So yeah, that's my most memorable moment in an Allstate Arena. So
Sean
let's
wants
keep
to
going.
know. Sean wants to know if they ever.
I don't know.
I think that they will. I think that they will eventually. But what's amazing is the next time we play them in like 3 years, I think both are going to be very good. So it's not like we have there's nothing coming up in anywhere near in our future where we're going to play the Eagles. Where like if we become good, like even if we become good, they're on the road to being really good. So no matter what, it's going to be a tough game. So it's hard to say, but eventually we will beat them. I'm going to eventually.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've lost by 1 point twice to them. At this point, we're 0-12. And they've outscored us 335 to 195. It just doesn't make sense. You know what? Let's break the Bears curse. Chris Bradigan, I know you're going to back me up on this. We haven't beaten the Bears in 22 years. Can we please break that streak already? I want to knock the Bears on their ass at this point. Enough of losing to the freaking Chicago Bears. Enough.
Yeah, we're gonna beat them this year.
Oh, we really better.
I mean, I don't even understand how people don't rank us so far above them in talent and everything. And it's nothing against Justin Fields. He's one guy. He can't do it alone. He has no offensive line. He doesn't have a lot of weapons. I mean, it's not Justin Fields' fault. I mean, by no means am I attacking Justin Fields when I say that we are much, much, much more talented than the Chicago Bears.
I mean, who's the best player that the Chicago Bears have on their roster? Is it David Montgomery?
I mean, they lost their linebacker. They lost. I mean, that was a while.
They lost Robinson.
Right. They lost Robinson, but they also lost.
I'm pulling up the roster right now just for kicks and giggles because I got to look this up.
Yeah, they lost Khalil Mack.
They lost Khalil Mack. Yeah. Right. Mack's history. Yeah. Where did Mack go again? The Chargers?
Chargers.
Yeah. That's another reason.
Chargers.
Good
They're going to be
Lord.
insane.
Yeah. Russell Wilson,
Khalil
Patrick
Mack
Mahomes, Derek Carr, watch out.
Khalil Mack is a game changer, and the Chargers just got him.
Oh, what are we talking about with the Bears? They just traded for N'Keal Harry, of course. They got Lamar Jackson. The Bears have our Lamar Jackson. What else do I need? Yeah, Roquan Smith is a very good linebacker. No question about it. Yeah, that's a guy we'd like to see in the Jets take if they're in a position. They still have Mike Pennell. How is Mike Pennell still in the league? He's been around 15 years. It feels like. Robert Quinn. They have Trevor Siemian is there. Wow.
We absolutely have to.
Oh my God!
We have to beat the Bears. Come on.
And they have Dakota Dozier. Dakota Dozier might be their best offensive lineman for all we know. I'm not kidding.
Right. We complain. We have fans that complain about McGovern. Do you know how badly the Bears would love to have him as their center?
Oh my God, no question about it.
Love him right now.
We are not talking Olin Kreutz here, if I may bring out a name from the Chicago Bears past. I don't know. I hope that's not too obscure, but living in Chicago for 20 years, I got to know those teams a little bit.
Bradigan will know what you're talking about.
Oh, Bradigan knows. So yeah, he knows Olin Kreutz. There's no doubt.
Bradigan, you brat.
Hey, we got a food question here. One of our comrades needs a little bit of help here. Okay.
Oh.
Dave Echeverry, should I go bacon wrapped asparagus or sauteed artichoke hearts as a side for my tri-tip tonight?
I would.
He is West Coast.
I would do the sauteed artichoke hearts, and here's why. You already got the tri-tip. Now, bacon is never a bad thing, but I would save bacon for the day where I'm doing some pasta. You got some asparagus, maybe wrap bacon on the side, or maybe you're eating chicken, not something, you don't get the heartiness of beef. So then you want the bacon wrapped asparagus so you can have something a little bit more, you know, bad. But like you already got that tri tip, man. And I'm assuming you got it nice and marinated or dry rubbed because that's how we do it out here. And I'm thinking, I love me some good artichoke, man. If you have some good artichoke hearts, like if you're not talking about that jarred crap from Costco, but you actually have real fresh artichokes to saute, you got to do that, man. You got to do the artichokes with the steak.
What would you do? What would you do with those? Because it's pretty hard to find. Because like preparing a fresh artichoke, it takes so much work. When you got to like peel.
Well, there's places where you could just buy the hearts and like that it's stripped down for you and everything to the heart.
Because they're usually like they're oil packed. Yeah, they're oil packed and they're great for like an antipasto. But yeah. But I wouldn't think of the artichokes by themselves as a side dish, to be honest.
Yeah, me and my wife do artichokes a lot. Like, I watched a video on how to cut them because we went to a restaurant. It was very fancy. It was like flat. There were no tips. They were easy and they pulled right off. And and we learned how to do it. Like I literally cut the top ½ inch off. I cut off all the sharp pieces. Like I do a whole big procedure, and then I cook them in the Instapot.
Okay.
For like 15 minutes, and they just come out like spread open like a flower.
How do you season? Do you season them with anything? Like, do you do breadcrumbs or just different spices? What do you do?
When I do wait a second. He's talking. When I do artichokes, I do like if I'm doing it when I take, I pull the petals and I'm eating it like that.
Yes,
I do sriracha in mayonnaise. I mix it up and I make like a hot mayo.
Right.
Or I do garlic and do a garlic alijio and like one of those kind of things. But sriracha in mayonnaise and just mix it up works perfectly for artichoke leaves, when you're dipping them in.
Not a mayo guy, but like a spicy sort of mayo, like a remoulade. Yes, I can get with that. But regular mayo, I don't really.
No, it has to be. It has to be like it has to be with things in it and everything. It has to be made into a dressing or something.
What does Daniel Murphy mean when he means he's got to go sling Coke around? Is he like a Coke distributor? Or like, is he delivering Coke to stores?
Go sling Coke around. Yeah, he probably drives a
distributor.
He's a distributor. Yeah.
There you go. That's like a Jet fan right there. Like up early at 4 a.m. doing the manual labor. Yeah,
he owns a route. He's got a route, right? I knew a guy who had a guy who had a Snapple route. He made a lot of money when they sold out. And then I knew a guy who had a Fresh Mutts route. He used to sell Fresh Mutts. So he'd go to like delis and restaurants and sell Fresh Mutts. One time he came over to my house and he gave me Fresh Mutts. I was like, nice. I'll eat that Fresh Mutts. He has a Coca-Cola route. I like it. I said routes. I said it right? I know the East Coast lingo. I got a route, man. Routes are great, man. If you build up a good route, it's a good, and you can retire because when you own a route, you could sell it. So you can make a living with it, and then you could sell it and have a nice little retirement package if you got a good route. Part of it is getting in early too. Also, like there's certain companies you can get in on a route. Like Snapple was like that. Arizona Iced Tea was like that. If you get in early, it's it's really a cool thing. A little bit of a risk though, because you have to build it up.
Nothing like some good boar's head. That is true. That is true.
With Becton being on the pup list, does he show up to the practices? Becton's not on the pup list, is he?
So it's Becton, Fant, Uzama, Lawson, and one other like lower level offensive lineman who I don't remember off.
You mean they're not going to play the first 6 games of the season? No,
they're not on that. No, it's not that pup list. They're on like the early preseason one, which is different.
Why are they on it?
They're actually all put on it today. I'll go ahead and pull it.
I thought Becton was completely.
It's the pup. Yeah, it's the pup list entering camp. So Drew Samia, the offensive lineman, that was the other guy. So
does it mean they have to pass a physical or something?
Looks that way. Yeah, I think they have to like work their way in, and during the course of preseason, they could come off the pup list. But I don't know, it's just some sort of role with them being designated a certain way. But it's not until they're on the pup list to start the regular season that it really means something. But hey, they could be ready 3-4 days into practice, and they would come off the list. So I'm not freaking out over any of these names.
Okay. Okay. You don't think it's so they could just have more people in camp, like, or do they count?
It's
as
the only thing I could really think of. I mean, the Patriots put like 5 guys on the pup list today, also. Like
They all
David
do it, right? They all do
So I'm not going to freak out over that.
it. Okay, I'm not worrying about it.
John,
I
yeah,
can-
I see what John's doing.
that's hysterical. I could
I see what you're
I could imagine Twitter blowing up right now, though. Everybody's going to be freaking out. The Becton's a bust.
Oh,
He's on the pup list.
Oh.
He's a bust. Drive a truck around and distribute the convenience stores, etc. That's awesome. Daniel Murphy. It's like the guy on. You ever see F as in Family? The head guy's name is Frank Murphy, and there's the black character that's always
no, I haven't seen. No, I
that
haven't seen
distributes
that.
in vendor machines, and he always calls him Frank Murphy. So I'm like Daniel Murphy. But that's cool, man. I like my Coke and Pepsi. I like both Coke and Pepsi. I know people care which one. I couldn't care less. I drink either one. I'd love it.
I'm a Coke. Yeah, I'm a Coke guy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I get annoyed at
Coca-Cola.
restaurants when they say like I go Pepsi. I go, can I have a Coke or whatever? We carry Pepsi. I'm like, I don't care. Just give it to me.
If it's Pepsi, I'm out.
Caffeine and it's sweets. I don't care which one it is.
Pepsi to me is really sweet. It's too sweet for me at this point.
Really?
Sean, yeah, the red helmets are pretty awesome. I like the Panthers helmets a little bit too, with the teal on the black. That looks pretty. The light blue on the powder blue. That looks pretty good.
Yeah,
These
Boar's
helmets are
Head.
good.
Dude, Boar's Head route early on in the 70s. Can you imagine getting that route real cheap?
Oh,
And then then it becomes the only cold cut anybody in New York or New Jersey will use. It's taken over California. It's growing. That's what I should have done when I moved out here. I should have bought a Boar's Head route because it's starting to spread. They got into Safeway. They're getting into all the supermarkets. Somebody's getting rich out here. Texans got red helmets. Yeah, those red helmets are awesome.
yes, they are. Yeah, the Falcons look better in red. Some teams look good in black. The Falcons, to me, look better in red than they do in black.
Yeah. How awesome would this be? Brees Hall getting Offensive Rookie of the Year and Sauce getting Defensive Rookie of the Year. Pretty awesome and very possible.
Sign me up for that.
Possible. You know, imagine they try to pick on the rookie. They try to pick on Sauce early, and he gets a couple of picks, and all of a sudden he's getting interceptions, and then he's like kind of like a shutdown guy. And then Brees Hall gets over 1,000 yards. They both can win. It's not impossible.
I think we should.
That'd be a great parlay bet.
We could have 4 guys on the all rookie team this year. Absolutely, we could have 4 guys.
Will a sports book do that? Can you do a parlay book on that? Bet on that? Can you bet like Brees Hall winning and Sauce Gardner both winning offensive?
I'll bet. One of them I bet you could. 2, I don't know. I'm not an expert when it comes to sports gambling. It's not really my thing.
They usually have ways of based on the odds of 2 things happening. They have a way of parlaying any bet. You know, that would be crazy if that's a crazy good bet. I like that better than the Jets winning the Super Bowl. If that pays big odds, if that's like 30-1 or something, 40-1. That they both win, I would do that. That's a good bet. I like that bet. It's the active pup, standard for all players coming off surgery. It's standard. Okay, then I'm going to nail something because someone on Twitter is going to say something that I'm going to nail him with this information. And, it makes sense that Buffalo knows because he's the king of Twitter. They can be activated at any time. They will all play preseason.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, we're not freaking out yet. Now, if they're missing drills and stuff like that, then that's something to talk about. But right now, I'm not going to worry about it too much.
Okay, thank God for Buffalo. Okay. All right. That's what I want to hear. You scared me. Becton on the PUP list, the pup list. What?
Yeah, not that pup list.
Oh, my God. I was about to cry.
It's a different it's a different kind of pup.
Oh, it's sandwich meat? I can't do that, man.
That doesn't sound right to me. Sandwich meat? I hear sandwich meat, I'm thinking bologna. or
Miami
Liverwurst.
as Mustard, he used to be pretty good. Yeah, he used to be pretty good.
He's fine.
But
When
he's
he
not
has
a guy.
the-
He's not a guy to be scared of, though. He's not like Henry or Tyler. He's not like a running back to fear. But if you don't win in the trenches, he's going to hurt you. Like when healthy, this running back will hurt you if you don't win in the trenches. But if you win in the trenches, if we don't let if we do our job as a defense, he's not the kind of running back that's going to kill you, like with on his own. Like he's going to, his offensive line is going to need to beat our defensive line in the trenches for him to succeed. So I'm not even just as a Jet fan, talking as any fan. You're not scared of this guy, but this guy could have this guy can put over 100 yards on you if he's given the blocking. He has that talent. But
Right. Yeah, I mean, and besides him, they have Mostert. They have who else? They have Sonny Michel, Chase Edmonds, Salvion Ahmed, Miles Gaskin. They got a deep running back room. They don't really have a go-to, but they've got a couple of guys that they can rotate. To keep a fresh, some fresh legs there in the backfield. I don't think they necessarily have a go-to though. I mean, we have a 1-2 punch. They got about a 1-4 punch.
yeah.
I think that's their idea. Hey, Buffalo knows what he's doing. What can I say? He only lasts 3 minutes, but he gets a lot done in 3 minutes.
I just saw something interesting.
Yeah, right. I was wondering. I was like,
my phone just blew up with something, so I'm just like, it's Twitter drama. There's always Twitter drama. Twitter drama. The Jet fans on Twitter, my God. But I'm buddies with the guys in the lounge. And by the way, I think it might be next Saturday. Guys, keep your ears and eyes open. We'll advertise it more. I believe that next week, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, that a lot of the Jets YouTube content providers are going to be in the Jets lounge. I was invited to partake in this, which is very exciting. And anybody can go and request to speak, by the way, but I was invited to go. I guess they would start me off as a speaker. So a lot of people were Jets Today, was invited, and Matt O'Leary, Ryan, all those guys, Green Bean, all those guys were invited to be in the Jets lounge, and I think it's just a good opportunity. They want to help promote us, we promote them, get the YouTube followers connected to the Jets lounge, get the Jets lounge people connected to YouTube and the content creators, grow the community, connect the community. So I just want to say, be on the lookout for that. I believe it's going to be like 4 Eastern to 7 Eastern next week on Saturday. It's still in the works, so I'll give more information. It'll get more precise. So but just keep your eyes out for that. We got a couple of guys. The guy that was supposed to be on my show yesterday, Defense Wins Championships, who'll probably be on the show next week, had that idea, and I think Sack Exchange, his real name is Steven, is pushing for that to happen. I happen to have a relationship with him. So as to the chagrin of Green Bean, I get in on these things too. And I think it makes him mumble. How does this guy get, Green Bean's like, how does this guy get in on this? It drives him crazy. I made friends with Steven, so I get in on these things. So it might happen. I would suggest that you go Watsu-K99 and you put your hand up to talk as well and get in there, and you could say, I New York Sports Wikimedia, anyway, our people could request you too. So
it's Saturday the 30th.
I believe so.
Oh, that's the day before my birthday. That's the day before my birthday, as a matter of fact. Okay,
and
cool.
I'll give out the specifics. It's I'm not throwing shots at Green Bean. I'm saying that Green Bean would throw shots at me. He'd be like, why are you in here? I'm just kidding. Green Bean.
I'm still going to tell Green Bean you took shots at him.
I'm just messing around. Green Bean, by the way, would never do that. He's my mentor. He's actually would be very proud. I think he's very proud when he sees my name on those things, along with those other YouTube channels. I think Green Bean takes a lot of pride in that. So honestly,
hey, Sluggo, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Jeremy, watch your last video. Hey, I hope you liked it. That video was What does JD do next? What's left? What's left for JD to do? I didn't, you know what didn't get a lot of traction was my Jordan Whitehead video. I'm kind of bummed about that. I put a lot of work into it. I did some film analysis, and played some tape of him, and then the real one that I thought would also that was the one I thought would do better, and it didn't do as well as I thought. So, but there's other videos that do really well that I put no effort into. So Jeremy,
I don't know. I don't know. I can't. For me, I can't turn the camera on with I got to have a reason to turn the camera on. And for me, it's like I figured it's only going to be 5 minutes. Next thing I know, I'm up to 10 to 12 minutes. I'm like, oh, I think I better wind this down. The time goes quickly once you get on a roll,
No, I got excited about Michael Clemens once. I just got excited about after watching his presser. I got excited, and I said, "My God, he reminds me of Mean Joe Green. The guy is the most intimidating man I've ever seen." So I get on and I just record myself saying, this Michael Clemens is a bad MF, and he reminds me of Mean Joe Green, and this guy is going to be scaring people just by looking at him. And then I just posted that video, and with a picture of him, and it went to 2,500 views or something. It was my first video that went, past 1,000, and it didn't just stop there. It went past 2,000. So, I mean, and it took literally 8 minutes, 10 minutes to do. I put there are videos I work on for an hour and a half. They get 150 views. And then I get one that breaks 2,000 that I put 8 minutes into. So go figure. It's just random kind of.
It's kind of the fun. Yeah, it's kind of the fun of the whole thing. You just never know.
Tom Bon Jovi, are you going to the opener?
Where have you been, Tom?
I know.
Where have you been?
He's a dad.
Man.
It's going to be I think that they have to make deals with their wives to say it's off season. This is the time that I'm going to spend with my family.
That's fair.
Satisfy the wife, and But Tom,
Jeremy, this is why I'm able to be on with you every week.
What's the opener? Tom Bon Jovi, are you going to the opener? I need to know. You've been working like crazy. I know you want to do what's best for your child. You want to put away college money and stuff. I get it, man. I'm with you. You're a father, a dad.
You
a good
are
one.
The father.
You are the father.
Father.
You are the father. He's a good father, a happy father. He loves his son, loves him, and he works hard for him. Okay, you're going to the opener. Are you sitting with the lounge, or do you got your own tickets? Are you going with Jets Lounge? Are you staying in the hangar? The Jets Lounge is a space on Twitter that's you're not on video, but you talk. It shows all the Twitter icons, and it's like an audio show, and anybody can talk. There's 10 speakers at a time, and everybody else is listening, but you could raise your hand to talk, and they could select you and make you a speaker. So it's just like a hangout room that sometimes gets a couple hundred people, but sometimes a lot of former Jets go in there, and Samini has went in there. The media has went in there. The Beat has been in there. You never know who's going to be in there. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, that's what it is. But you have to get a little bit familiar with Twitter, and then just search for the Jet Lounge. Jet Lounge if you have an account.
So Twitter Spaces. And Tom says he's got his own tickets. All right, good. Yeah, good for him.
Okay. Tom, we still have to find a way to meet up. I'm going to the opener. I don't know if you know that. So you must come to wherever the Gotham City tailgate. You have to come over wherever that is. I'll give you the location the day of the game, and you can meet me and Green Bean and Matt O'Leary and Ryan. We're all going to be there. Buffalo is going to be there. So, Tom, we got to meet up, man. We got to meet up in that game, okay, before the game. I'll bring you a bagel and cream cheese or something. Okay.
So, what is the hangar? I hear you guys talk about the hangar. Is the hangar the tailgate, or
the hangar is the name of the club? They created a new club in the stadium.
Oh,
it's the grand opening. We're there the first game that it's being open for regular season.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand the context.
It's like a 2-level club. It's like a lounge. It has couches, big screen TVs, and then there's an opening and I think there's a bunch of seats that the one door goes to a section of seats. So because I think you could still watch the game, it's like in the end zone, so you could still like sit in a seat out and watch the game live, or you can walk to the back and walk into the hangar, and it's 2 levels. There's a bar, couches, TVs, the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's gonna
pretty
be
amazing.
it's gonna be absolutely insane. It's sick. I'm totally could be a TV dad, like from those old shows, Family Ties.
Or you would be like the neighbor to the main family of the show, who just like randomly walks in, just with, just randomly and just starts taking the snacks, sits on the couch, and
Kramer?
starts eating away.
The Kramer.
You're like the Kramer, yeah.
I'm the Kramer.
I see a little bit of Kramer in you. You just need the hair, yeah.
Dude, I used to do that. I was that guy. My friend Mo, like I used to go into his house, my next door neighbor, and go into his fridge and eat his food. And he would starve himself. He was like always on a diet. He was healthy, and he hated. His dad would fill the food with like pastries and stuff. And I'd come in and he'd say, "Here, eat this, eat this." But I used to come over there looking for food. And then my best friend owned an Italian restaurant, so I'd go to his house. And they used to always have like leftover pizza that they didn't want to throw away. So their freezer always had tons of slices in there. And I would go in there and reheat slices. I was totally that guy. Kramer. When I was a kid, younger, they'd call me Skippy. You remember from Family Ties, Skippy?
Okay.
Alex's best friend?
Okay. I've seen a little bit of Family Ties, but not a ton of it. So, okay. I think I've heard of the character, but not totally familiar with it.
Cool.
Sligo, you could be Archie Bunker's neighbor? I don't know. All in the Family is one of the greatest shows in the history of television. No,
I would.
sitcom, not just sitcoms.
I'm trying to think of the character I'd be, but I would. It would be funny because Archie would be like annoyed with me because I'd be going into their kitchen and eating their food. He's here eating the food again.
Edith, will you get him out of here, please?
I'm gonna meet Tom.
Archie and I have a lot in Archie and I have a lot in common. We're both known for our chairs that we sit in.
The green bean coaching tree is expanding. So true. It's so true.
Hopefully it'll turn out better than Belichick's.
Skippy.
Eddie Haskell.
Eddie Haskell.
Archie's Jewish neighbor. Yeah. I guess I'd be the Italian neighbor.
Yeah, I could have been the Jew.
Who sides with him on things.
Oh my God, I could have been the Jewish neighbor that like he could have been. He could like like. There's a lot they missed in that show that they could have done episodes on, like the Jewish neighbor where he gets probably questions about Hanukkah, like not understanding Hanukkah. Or imagine Archie Bunker and Edith going to a Seder, to a Passover or a Seder.
Oh,
how funny the material could be.
I actually went to a church, like, when I was in my early 20s. We actually did a Seder dinner at the church I was going to get an understanding of what Jewish people did, and it was quite interesting to actually experience it. Archie, Archie! I don't think it would have worked out very well.
Coach Solid just broke his silence on Becton in interview. Are you talking about the one that's all over Twitter from yesterday? Or is there just a new one? Someone was saying, oh, they said he's losing weight, which means he didn't come into camp at the right weight. Like there was a whole bunch of stuff like that. Was there a very new interview? And if there was, what did he say? Are they upset with him? Did he seem happy with them?
I don't know. I don't feel like I've heard much, but I'll check this. I'll take a quick look here. I feel like one of the reporters would have said something about June 15th. I'm going to filter this out. News ends up on the pup list. I don't know of anything new. I got to be honest. I haven't heard anything new.
There was something yesterday, like I thought, like recently, where he had an interview and someone said, so again, they were lying. They said, oh, he said that that he didn't come into camp at the right weight. It's like, that's not what he said. He came into
like Mike Francesa. I never said that.
It's like
I never said that.
People like to interpret what he's saying, and it's not what he said. He didn't say he came into camp too heavy. He said he's losing weight. That's not some saying, "Oh, how is someone's weight? Oh, he's he's losing weight." That doesn't mean he came to camp overweight. Like, I mean, Jet fans on Twitter make stuff up. They
Yeah.
literally make things up. And then I told somebody, I said, "You're making an interpretation. That's just your interpretation." He goes, "Do you understand English? It's not an interpretation. It's not an interpretation. Salah said it." It's like, but he didn't say it. Like, he didn't.
I'm
He
just
said
ignoring.
he's losing weight.
I'm ignoring as much Becton news as I can until it starts. By the way, in relation to what Jet King said, Jeremy, do you know what you get when you cross a Jehovah's Witness with an agnostic? Somebody who knocks on your door for no apparent reason.
Oy vey.
As Jeff Dunham and Walter say, that's Jewish for holy shit.
Look, so check this out. This is what this person on Twitter interpreted. He said, "Doing all the right things, working hard every day, weight is coming down." And somebody on Twitter is saying, "See, he came into camp overweight."
Okay, what are we
How
really?
do you interpret that way?
Okay, what is the biggest concern? I feel like half the track they were talking about is weight, and other people are talking about is conditioning. What's the real problem? Is it weight? Is it conditioning? Is it both? What is the real Becton issue that we're so hung up on? I don't feel like it can only be a weight situation. I feel like it's got to be more than that. His knee is fine. He has said his knee is fine. Coach Salah has said his knee is fine. Therefore, I choose to believe that his knee has no limitations left. So that means you either have to get in physical condition, like in cardio, or you have to drop the weight. Is it one or is it both? That's what I want to know. I feel like we don't know what the real issue is that needs to be addressed.
Mhm.
And so I without knowing what the problem is, I feel like it is not my place to get angry if I don't know what the problem is or what if there actually is a problem.
Yeah.
I know it's absurd, but that's the absurdity of this whole situation. That's why I can't wait for him to report.
The best was in one of my arguments and discussions. Daniel Murphy chimed in. It was great.
Good old Daniel Murphy.
He's in there supporting me.
Well, somebody's got to.
Unbelievable.
He's been doing all the right things. That's one of those like go-to phrases when it's not there yet, but hopefully the worst is behind us. So that's one of the the PR staff went to like, which phrase are we going to use in this case? Doing all the right things. Coach, make sure you to tell them we had a great week of practice. That one will be coming out during the course of the season, I'm sure, after a horrible loss when we don't show up. We'll have had a great week of practice. We don't know how this could have happened.
Like, I don't know what he rookie year, great rookie, had a great year, super exciting. We got our tackle forever. Year 2, guy falls on his knee and he gets hurt. Horrible, awful scenario. Not his fault. And all of a sudden, Becton's a bust. Becton doesn't work hard. He doesn't want to be. People are out of their minds. I mean, people have lost their mind. Nobody credible has said this. Salah has never said this. JD has never said this. They've never said Becton is lazy. They've never said that Becton is not going to be a great. They've said the opposite.
They wouldn't say that. No,
No,
they're not going to cause any stirs in the media. Becton and Douglas, Saul and Douglas. They wouldn't do that. They'll send indirect messages to him. Like they might say, well, he has to compete at right tackle. He's not sure of left tackle. There's going to be a competition. It's an open competition. But they'll be reassuring. They're going to be encouraging. But I can't imagine a situation where Joe Douglas or Robert Saleh would directly call out one of their players in front of the beat reporters. The next time that happens will be the first.
well, look at it this way. Look at it this way. And Buffalo has said this, and I said the same thing. I thought the same thing. We had a ton of cap space.
I'm hiding this.
Ton of money. We had tons of money. Right? We know Joe Douglas cares about the offensive line. It's his number one priority. Defensive line and offensive line. Number one priority. First thing he did was try to build up the offensive line. Signing McGovern and Van Rotten. That was the first thing. It didn't work with Van Rotten, but that was the first thing he did. He signed George Fant. That was a great signing, right? That ended up great. Okay, so this team with tons of money and tons of draft picks waited to round 4 to take Matt Mitchell. Does that sound like a general manager and a coach that doesn't believe in their tackle? Like, come on. If they
didn't,
them, they would have picked a tackle, or they would have signed a tackle.
Thank you. They would have drafted Icky. They would have drafted Cross. They would have done that if that's how they really felt.
Like, it's so stupid. It's like they would have done that. Why is that not so obvious? They would have done it. There's no way they had questions about Becton.
Oh God. Oh, okay. Mo. You're acting like Becton is making like $15 million a year.
What are you talking about? He's a draft.
We drafted him. He's on a rookie contract, man.
He's done nothing wrong. Every time he's played in a real season game, he's been great. Like, this is made up. This is invented by the media. It's invented. If you've ever watched football in your life, watch the tape. Watch him play.
I'm just amazed that we have
one of the best tackles in the league, top 10 tackle in the league as a rookie.
I didn't know we had so many nutritionists who were Jets fans. They seem to know exactly what Becton's eating. Or they must be working at the grocery store and Becton's buying all the all the fried foods or whatever it is that he's apparently buying, because a lot of Jets fans, a lot of Becton haters, they know exactly what Becton's eating apparently. Way to go. Way to go, guys.
You know when you worry about a player? When your coach worries about him. When you start, if we would have drafted a tackle, that would have been very telling. Very telling. Has Becton been benched?
No.
In his life, in college, has he ever been benched? Have they ever said you're benched because you're heavy?
No,
you're benched because you're not working hard. You're benched because you don't have a good attitude. Never. All of this is from the beat. This is all the media. This is all media. This is just interpretations and stories by people who get paid for you to believe them. Nothing. There's no evidence that he's ever done anything wrong. Everything that's been said about him is based on media articles that people write to get you to click on it.
What have our issues been before? It's been this player wants to be traded, he wants out. It's been this player is going to hold out. This coach is going into his last year. It's a make or break year. None of those things are issues right now. Our biggest issue right now is the rumored weight and conditioning of our left tackle. That is like such a downgrade in drama. It must be breaking the beat reporters' hearts right now. I bet you right now, Cimini and Hughes are on the phone with each other. It's like, can you find any other thing that we could talk about? What else can we knock right now?
It always goes back to the same thing. Becton and Mims. Same thing. That's like they literally went back to the same old story. The Jet fans should have. They're treating us like we're stupid. It's the same thing. Every time they run out of things to write about, let's another article. Becton. Do you know what they said about Becton? The coaches are frustrated with him and don't know what to do. Have you seen him? He looks better than he's ever looked. That's a lie. They're literally lying to get you to click on it. That's 100%.
It looks pretty freaking good. It looks pretty freaking good.
How could you say the coaches?
Standing.
How could someone say the coaches are frustrated with him and don't know what to do? And you look at the last picture of him that our friend took, Jets Fan United. We know the guy who took the picture in the city, and he looks, if anything,
looks good.
It looks too small for an offensive tackle.
I'm like, his stomach is even going past his chest right now. Is he buying one of like those slim down shirts that you can wear nowadays that makes you look your weight 20 pounds less than what you are? That no matter how good the technology is on that shirt, it's not going to make you look a whole lot slimmer if you're really 400 pounds, or I'm sorry, 394, like your friend said. It doesn't make that big of a difference.
Now, Sean, I don't blame you for being worried because the media has been putting it in your head, all of our heads. I was worried for a while too, but now I'm just waking up and saying, wait a second, nothing they're saying is true. Everything they're saying turns out to be a lie. Everything. What have they been right about? Did we trade our number 10 pick? I thought we were going. Connor said we were going to trade our number 10 pick. What happened? How come we didn't?
I think he did say that. Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
Right. Did we take Icky? They swore we were taking Icky. We're taking Icky.
And we had no interest in Sauce. That didn't make sense for us.
Right.
We weren't going to go
They
there.
were wrong about
No.
everything. They're wrong about everything. At what point do we know that we can't trust them? Now, if you looked at him and in your opinion, he didn't look like he was in shape, if you've come to that conclusion, that's fine. I have concerns about him too. You know what my concerns about him are? My concerns about him is he had a knee injury and he's a big guy. So I'm worried that this knee injury is going to be a problem, an ongoing problem. I am worried. I'm worried about
yeah.
that.
Same way I'm worried about Jeremy Ruckert's foot. I'm worried about him.
And
that you can understand.
And I'll admit it scares me a little that Becton is a guy that if he's not working his heart out to stay thin, obviously has a metabolism for whatever reason, he gains weight fast and he can get very heavy. I'm not going to lie. I'm worried about that because it can't be like a one-time thing. Like when I go on a diet and I lose a lot of weight, but then I gain it all back, right? So it can't be that Becton's going to get comfortable in a year or two. Like have a great year, get comfortable, and then come to camp next year at 400 pounds. I do have that concern. I do a little bit. I'm not panicking about it, but I have the concern.
Okay.
But what people are doing is they're attacking him. They're calling him lazy. They're calling him that he's not a real guy, that he has no passion, that he doesn't love the ball. They're saying horrible things that there's no evidence of. Like zero evidence. And that is driving me crazy. It's maddening. Just like, no, I got to go back to that, bro. What are you doing? Why'd you go off of that? Don't do that.
Sorry.
I had a super chat that I haven't talked about. Come on.
There you go. Okay. I got you.
Now, let me get to that. Tom Bon Jovi.
Because it made me laugh. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, not sorry.
Remember where it is. We'll go right back to it. Tom Bon Jovi.
No, we don't have to.
Thank you for the congratulations. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, bro. You were my number 6 or 7 subscriber. There's no question about it. Tom Bon Jovi goes back to when I was on Frankie's channel doing weekly shows with him. When I flipped over and opened it and got this channel, Tom was one of the first guys to jump on board. He used to come into the chat when there was 2 people watching in the chat. Like it would be like Eric Craig and Tom Bon Jovi. And then Jets Mess came, and then like people started to come. But Tom would sit there and listen to my show, whether there was 3 people in the chat, 0 people, and he was the only person in the chat, or whether there was 10 people in the chat. It never mattered to him. And thank you. Thank you for that. The $10 is great. The super chat is great. But the biggest thing you ever gave me was you believed in me, and you were there for me from day one. So thank you, my brother. I appreciate you.
You give super chats a good name. Tom Bon Jovi.
Love you, man. I can't wait to meet you. All right, go ahead. Now put your chat up.
I don't even care anymore. Move on.
you and your trigger finger.
We were just having fun. Hey, you gave me the privileges. I'm taking advantage of it now. That's fine. Wow.
Buffalo's lit up too, you see?
I got to think this one through. I'm actually visualizing right now. Bleached. Wow. Male Karen Connor. Wow. Now, on the next Buffalo Jets fan, he's going to have Connor Hughes on for an interview. Make sure to tune in.
No, it's not about the media is all
There's
live.
good media. There's good media out there.
There's good media out there.
There really is.
It's just what gets clicks. There's bad media and there's good media. Now, look, some of the media is wrong, but they're trying to be. Well, look, Paul Lesnin writes articles for Heavy, right? Heavy on Jet, whatever the Heavy on Jets things.
Heavy.com or whatever.
Well, he says he doesn't state things as fact. He gives opinions. He talks about news that are out there, what people are saying, and he gives his opinion. He's not saying anything is true or not true, right? It's interesting articles. There's a guy on Good Morning America, one of those morning shows, Pete Schluger. Very honest.
Peter Schrager. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Right? Very honest interpretations. He doesn't lie. He says what he was told. Then you got guys who, what's your source? 2 guys in the building. What does that mean? 2 guys in the building? What does that mean? That's your source? Why? There's no consequences, Modine. There's no accountability for them to be honest. Because Connor Hughes has been wrong, and I'm not putting him down. Plenty of media guys have been wrong about a lot of things. They're not held accountable. Nobody backtracked and said, hey, what happened? You said this was going to happen. They never have to answer that question. So why believe them? I looked at a picture of Becton and watched videos of him working out where he clearly was in great shape. He was clearly working hard. He was clearly not overweight for a tackle. Why am I going to believe somebody that says he is when I'm watching it with my own eyes? It doesn't make any sense. It's like the media used to write just facts, what they observed, what they saw. Now they create stories. They do.
And there's nothing wrong with having an opinion or having a columnist, but don't take your opinion and report it as fact just to get a reaction.
Right. Just say, I think there's a chance that Becton might be overweight and the coaches are concerned about it. Fine.
Just say, I believe. My perception is.
Fine.
I got no issue with that because that's an opinion.
Right. And I'm not like, I don't blame Sean, or I don't think that it's crazy to have concerns about him. Like, I think Becton is a big guy, and that's concerning. But I think it's for any big player. When you draft guys that are 6'7", 350 to 400 pounds, we've got to be concerned about them. It's a physiological fact. They are more prone to get hurt, their knees, their joints, their ankles, and they're more prone to have longer injuries that take longer to heal. It's true.
Correct.
You're allowed to be concerned about that, but don't buy into the defining who he is as a person. No, like this thing about
motor is
lazy. What his attitude is. That's insanity, man. That's like there's no way to make it to the level he's made it. Do you know how hard that is? Do you know how hard it is to get that good?
There was one other criticism that I saw even in the group. I'm not going to mention who said it, but I questioned his desire to play in New York. What does that really have to do with anything? It doesn't. These guys, I think this New York thing gets completely overblown because, like we said, if you get the success here, you're going to have it as good here as you're going to have it anywhere else. So to me, I think that's like an easy excuse, but to me, I don't see how it holds water. We can't get inside these guys' minds by any stretch. Either they want to play and they're willing to work for it, or they're not. It doesn't. I don't care if they're playing in New York, in Green Bay, in Timbuktu, or on Mars. Their nature is their nature. That is not going to change regardless of location. So, I mean, you can't. I mean, let's say Mekhi Becton. Let's just assume Mekhi Becton is a naturally unmotivated human being. If you're going to put him, say, like on the Arizona Cardinals, is he suddenly going to become like freaking Anthony Munoz? I'll give you a minute. You good?
It's just funny. The comment is funny.
Yeah, Daniel Murphy's going to be bringing the Cokes into the hangar, which will be funny because Pepsi is the sponsor of MetLife. But I'd love to see you try to bring some Coke in.
He's saying that Connor Hughes' guy, his source, is Daniel Murphy.
Yeah, I will say for the beat writers, I mean, I do like Brian Costello of the Post. I do like him. I just don't think it's fair to knock every single beat reporter.
No.
Was it Anthony Vasquez? I think from NJ.media. I heard him on with who was with Sean Marash on WFAN this weekend. He sounded pretty good too. There's some good guys. It's just the ones who get on our nerves are the ones who get all the attention, and they in turn, the sins of one spread to the many. They're cast on to everybody else. Look, just be careful of the blanket statements. That's all I'm saying.
Right. No, look, I'll even say it about Connor Hughes. He does things that pisses me off, right? And writes articles I disagree with. He also does us a great service. Like when the Jets are in camp, he's one of the best at updating what's going on the field.
Correct.
Like one of the best. I appreciate him for that. I'm in debt to him for that. He's one of the guys that keeps us posted. Like he'll say exactly, Zach is 5 for 7. He looks sharp right now. Gardner knocked one down. He's covering guys really well. He tells us what's going on. Like, I just want him to stick to that. I wish we could take the good Connor Hughes, the one that's doing the helpful thing that I really like, and just stick to that with your articles. And if you have an opinion, write the opinion, but say it's an opinion.
Yeah,
But don't say it's bad.
be copious Connor, where we get like all this info, all these details. We want copious Connor, not country club Connor. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, and then hey, he's giving Green Bean attention. Shoot, we might be next if this keeps up. But yeah, that's okay.
The Johnny Manziel bust.
I know. Yeah, yeah, he couldn't handle the mistake by the lake. Yeah, there are a lot of things that Johnny Manziel couldn't handle. He couldn't have made it in the USFL.
Yeah, but the whole Sam Darnold thing is they'll say when he went to like Carolina, they'll say, "Oh well, they weren't good either." And then you'll put him. Then he'll one day be a backup for a good team. He'll come in and it'll be bad, and they'll say, "Oh well, the Jets ruined them already." Like there's always an excuse. Why can't people just say the truth? Sam Darnold was a bust. He's a bust. He was a bust.
I mean, well. Look who we have here. Tigo! What's up,
Tigo
buddy?
in the house. You missed it, man. I just went on a tirade.
I got to shut up for 5 minutes. I think the chat was thrilled about it. All I know is we went up in viewers once you got going. Yeah, I subscribed to David recently. Yes, yeah, very, very, very good stuff. Very smart, very understandable. Yeah, he knows how to write very well. And I'm saying that as a former sports writer myself. So yeah, he knows his stuff.
Yeah. What's good, guys? What's good? And you know what? I don't even know that Connor wrote it wrong. He may have said, I have sources that said this. It's the Jet fans that are interpreting it as that means it's fact. Because Connor might not even be at fault. He might not have been the one that said it's a fact. He may have simply wrote the truth. I have sources in the Jets building that told me this is the truth. And then it's the Jets fans who read that and said, well, it's 100% true then. And decided that he was fat and lazy. You know, so it might not even be Connor's fault.
I mean, it's all fairness. He could have a good, body shape, but is his knee where it needs to be? Is his conditioning where it needs to be? Now, if he just has to get in better cardio shape, that could be developed. Apparently, his knee is good. So to me, if it's just a matter of cardio, then I feel pretty good that, yeah, we did. We did ruin Sam. I do believe that. We would have ruined Baker. We would have ruined Allen. We would have ruined Lamar. When you had that roster and that coaching staff, yes, we would have ruined just about any quarterback you could name.
But they would have,
I absolutely believe that.
But they would have come back and been good when they went to Carolina. Or how about this? Deshaun Watson played for a very, very, very bad Houston team, but we still knew he was good.
If Sam Darnold is a bust, what is Josh Rosen? A Cleveland Brown. Next question.
Josh Rosen is definitely a much bigger bust than Sam Darnold. Darnold,
is he ever?
Sam Darnold is at least a legitimate backup quarterback.
He could be a backup for 10 years.
Backup quarterback.
For 10 years.
A very good backup.
Are you telling me that Sam Darnold can't have Brian Hoyer's career? I don't believe that.
I think that Sam
Darnold. He could be at least that.
I think that Sam Darnold might end up on a team like, let's say he ended up on a team like Dallas. Just an example.
And I like that.
And their starting quarterback gets hurt. Sam Darnold on that team, after putting this all behind him for a year, let's say he sits on the bench in Dallas for a year, comes in, gets the cobwebs out, gets over the trauma of everything that happened to him. He comes into that game. He could still win games for them and be a really good backup for them. That helps their season and not lets their season go to crap. I still believe he could be that good, like a really good, backup quarterback, or even eventually then get a shot to start at a team.
Spot starter.
And be a spot starter. I believe in all that. He's not a complete bust in that he's not an NFL player. He's not a Rosen. But at the same time, Flacco came in with the same roster, same coaching staff, way past his prime, and played better than Darnold and opened up the Jets offense and gave us more options downfield. So that told me right at that moment, oh, Darnold's not the guy because this is year 3 and Flacco just came in and is better than him. So
I'm sorry, but I had to highlight that.
Yeah.
I had to.
Bigger bust than Dolly Parton. Well, Rosen was a bust because they knew it just from camp.
They knew it
it's not like he didn't even get to be in the game and suck. He just literally never got the chance. They saw him in camp and said, "Oh my God, he stinks."
Hey, and we might face Josh Rosen week 2. It is possible now. It is very possible. Boy, oh boy. Absolutely. No, Sluggo. I mean, that's where most games are won, lost in general, was in the trenches.
Yeah.
And put it this way, we have a defensive line that's very good at one thing, very questionable at another thing. And the offensive line, we know they can run block well. But if Becton and Fan are both on the field and healthy, we have a top 10 offensive line in football. I really believe that. If that's not what we have, if we don't have both of those tackles, I can't bear to watch, half a season of Connor McDermott or Chuma Edoga. Max Mitchell, I don't want to rush him. I don't think it's fair to put that load on him. And I don't want to move Elijah Vera Tucker out. I know we have good depth at interior offensive line, but we just moved this kid from left guard to right guard. We don't need to move him to right tackle also. I don't want to mess with him. I think AVT can be an absolute cornerstone. I think he could be one of the best guards the Jets have ever had in their entire history. I really think that's true. I don't want to mess with this kid at all. I think he's going to be an absolute cornerstone. I see potential Ring of Honor for AVT.
I'm telling you, Tigo is going to be
Wow.
either Chigo's going to be the biggest genius in the world in a couple of years and say, I told you so, or he's going to be he's just one of the most, one of these kind of guys we just laugh at.
Tigo. You missed a few nights sleep because of the baby. Have you now? I hope you're right, man. I sure do.
I think that Max Mitchell could end up being a very good tackle in this league. I just think that he needs some time to develop.
I want him on the inactive list all year. I want him inactive and on the roster because if we need him in the games, that's not a good sign.
Right. But I do think he can develop and be a very good tackle in the league. I'm happy with the pick. I'm not going to sit there and say that he's ready to step in right now and be a good tackle in the NFL. Like those are outliers, man. Those are like the top guys. Like maybe Neal can come in and do that. Maybe Icky will come in and do that. But like Max Mitchell's going to be really good, and he's fundamentally very good, and he's like fun. His fundamentals are great. His technique is great, but he's young and he's going to get stronger and he's going to grow into himself, and that's when he'll be. I don't know if he's ready right now, though. You know what I mean? Just give him time and give him some time in the oven.
Yeah, just let these kids develop at their pace. We don't have to force feed because we have a lot more depth than we used to. They don't have to start and be great immediately. Look, that's what I said about Jeremy Rucker. Even if he was healthy right now, we don't need him to be our number one tight end. And it's a good thing that we don't. What we get from him this year, it gets to be a bonus. Even in year 2, it's a bonus. Because with Zaman Conklin have the next 2 years pretty much locked up, Ruckert's going to have to earn his playing time.
Yeah.
Traditionally, we'd be counting on these guys to just jump right in and be elite players.
Yeah.
And that never worked. That never worked out. Especially even the Tannenbaum drafts when we only had, 3-4 picks? Because we kept trading and trading up because Tannenbaum believed in quality over quantity. He defends his draft strategy to this day, which is great. But when you miss on a pick, it's that much more devastating. And the ones that he missed on, we paid the price. And that's one of the reasons we had so much trouble retooling for all those years.
Yeah. I know that Max Mitchell's making the team. There's no question. Both of our 4th round picks are making this team. And then I think it's just a question of, will Max Mitchell be a backup on the squad for the next bunch of years, or is he going to end up being a starter? And I don't think there's any way to know for sure. I have hope that I do believe his ceiling is that he could be a good starting tackle. I do. I mean, I've watched tape on him. He's good. It's just, but there's no way to tell for sure. He's not one of these guys where, like with Evan Neal, you can tell. With him, it's not like you can tell for sure. Like he's going to have to get stronger. There's some things he's going to have to work on. But I believe in Joe Douglas, and I believe that Joe Douglas knows how to, find talent and draft guys. And I think there's I think that Clemens and Max Mitchell both have ceilings where they could be very good, effective starters and contributors to our team in our future.
And that's something that we talked about last night is how all the mid-round picks that we would take, and we'd have one failure after another for so long. it's like, okay, we got this mid-round guy. Well, maybe we got a special teams player. We're not used to a 4th-round player or a 5th-round player coming onto the roster, becoming a contributor early on and working his way into a starter role in year 2 or year 3. That's like a new phenomenon for the Jets. But there's a realistic situation where that could happen with a Max Mitchell or with a Jeremy Ruckert. Cameron, I guess, is referring to Craig James from the Eagles of the city of Philadelphia.
He's more of a cornerback, right?
He's the quarterback. Put it this way: he's like a Justin Hardy sort of kind of player. Special teams captain, has played very little defensive, and the one start he did have in his career in the defensive backfield was a game against the Jets. I know it's shocking, but the Jets lost that game. But right. But yeah, James is pretty much would step into that role. It very may well come down to Craig James taking Justin Hardy's job at the name of saving $1 million. And if they could do that, if that gives them the space to sign a Riley Reef, then I like Justin Hardy. I love his energy. I love his fire. I love his tackling ability. But if James can do the same thing, and this allows us to get that swing tackle, then I would understand the move.
So, Moti, look, we're gonna find out. Like, there's a chance he won't even make the squad, and it might just be they believe in competition, and Justin Hardy has now been put on notice. Like, hey, guess what?
Yep.
It's not automatic, buddy. You want a roster spot, and all you do is play gunner. And last year you had critical penalties and stupid penalties. Well, guess what? Don't take it for granted. Don't think you're going to sit here and come in and you automatically have a job, because we have a kid that's a lot cheaper that we can keep. That's also pretty good at gunner and can also do the job for us on special teams. So it just puts them on notice. That's all.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember when I was going through did you ever go through the off-season tool on the Jets X Factor website that they have during the season? Have you been
Yeah,
on that
I
before?
did it. Yeah.
Okay. So you have that scenario where you can cut, I think they only let you cut like 6 players. That's basically it. And you're looking for, and there were some easy ones. Ryan Griffin, Greg Van Roten. There were a few obvious ones.
The easiest one ever.
I
I always cutted Shep, by the way.
You cut Shepard. I would cut Rankins because I want to say $5.5 million.
Yeah. I did that a couple of times too.
I guess I was in the minority on that one.
No, I did
But
it
it was-
a couple times.
But it was funny because by the end of it, it's like I'm trying to find another guy to cut. And it's like, okay, I could cut like a Ty Johnson, save $925,000, but I'm looking for guys who make $1 million or more. I'm looking for a 7-figure salary. And I kept coming back to Justin Hardy's cut with $2 million, really? And it's like I didn't want to cut Hardy, but it's just like this is where I would get most of my savings. And it's like, wow, we got some low cap hits on this team. It's like, thank God we're out of cap hell. We got draft capital to work with and a young roster. It's like, oh my goodness. It took a few years, but it's like you could really see the turnaround. And I really saw that. It's like, where's the lousy salary we could just cut? And it's like 3 or 4 obvious ones, and then you had to start fishing. And Hardy was one of the guys you were fishing for. It's like, do I cut him and save the $2 million? Well, the Jets may have that same thought in mind. They just might.
Teach Eccles how to be a gunner, guys. Again, that's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all. I think Eccles might end up being a good cornerback.
Yeah.
I don't know why everybody's judging him for getting he was a rookie. It's normal for a rookie to struggle. I think for a rookie, he was actually okay and showed some potential. Like, I don't know. People forget, like, except for the outliers, most cornerbacks get picked on when they're a rookie. What are people mad at him because he couldn't cover Diggs? Really? You expected a rookie cornerback picked in the 5th round, year 1, to cover Stephon Diggs? Why would you expect him to be able to do that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you think he could do that?
I think we got this idea that you could just teach anybody to be a gunner. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I wish Mims could do that. I wish Ashton Davis could do that with his speed and stuff like that. That's great. I just don't think he has it upstairs where you can read a play, diagnose it, and do that type of stuff. That's why he does all these horrible angles to the ball on defense. He's not going to be better on special teams. But if Ashton Davis could figure that part of the game out, I think he'd be a great special teams player. I just don't trust him. I want to, but I can't.
Yeah. Well,
Man,
I mean, now we
we've
gotta-
hit about 150 topics in like 5 minutes here.
now we have two guys on the roster that are gunners, but naturally good gunners, like we know are good at it. The problem is they're not good enough to really they're like, and they don't need to be starters, but you would hope that they would be good enough to be guys you can count on if there was injuries and you needed them to play. And I don't think either of those guys are really guys you want in the game in the secondary. I don't think you want Justin Hardy in the secondary.
No.
It's not a
no.
good situation if he's out there for you.
No, it's definitely definitely not the case. Yeah, I can't. It'd be very hard to imagine a scenario where Hardy would be in that situation. But you know what? He certainly tries. He tries damnedest. I don't have any doubt about that. People are asking. We got a little bit of Eccles talk here in the chat. Was it Eccles that asked for Brady's autograph? I think it was. I think it was Eccles. Jeremy, does that ring a bell? Was it Eccles that asked for that autograph?
Guy was Eccles that asked.
I thought it was.
No. It wasn't Eccles. I thought it was.
It was a cornerback.
Who got the interception against them?
It wasn't Pinnock, was it?
Maybe. Who got the interception against? It was the one who got the interception against them. Did Eccles get an interception against Brady? He got the interception against Tua, the pick six.
But it was a second.
It was the guy who got. It was definitely the guy who got the interception.
Let me see if I can find this.
Well, you don't have to look it up. Iowa Jets fan is here, and he says,
"Oh, wow, it was Eccles." Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Greenman got a
my backup my backup almanac is Iowa Jets fan.
I
did not like it at all. I did not.
But I couldn't care less. I
didn't like it.
Things good. Yeah, but who cares? Who cares?
You know what? You want to do it? Do it in the back. Do it in the locker room. Don't do it in front of all of us. We don't need to know about it. All right.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't care.
I just don't care.
I can't accept that. Brandon Eccles, you're a disgraziad.
Yeah. I mean, you get an interception against the GOAT,
What Peyton Manning was in that game? Aaron Rodgers was in that game? Joe Montana, John Unitas, who was in that game? I didn't notice. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, look, Tiga agrees with me. You intercepted the GOAT, you get the autograph.
Yeah, the moat.
I
Most overrated of all time. Very good, but come on.
I mean, you don't know what Eccles' career is going to be. That football signed by him could be like the thing he talks about to his grandkids.
I hope not.
You know
what? I hope it isn't. I hope his best days are ahead of him. I really do. But you know what? He'll be. He's our number 4 cornerback at best at this point. So.
But they were talking. I heard maybe again. I'm not going to say that like fact, but there were people in the media that felt that there was a chance or was hinting that the Jets organization believed that Eccles might eventually be better than Hall.
I just don't understand why people are down on Hall. Is it just because?
No, not even that he's bad. That they were just that high on Eccles.
All right. Well, I got to see it. I have a lot of faith in Bryce Hall. Boy, oh boy. I feel like he's one of those guys I'm like holding on to. I feel like Bryce Hall is a little bit almost like where Michael Carter might be going. Whereas I'm holding on to them as a really good player, but it's like, oh boy, their time's going to go down. It's like they've almost been replaced by new players. And it's just like, oh, I don't have a good feeling that they're going to be on the team in 2 years. It concerns me. I got to be honest, because those are 2 guys I really want to keep. I really do. I know that's not something we have to deal with right away, but if Bryce Hall winds up only getting like 20% of the snaps, after Bryce Hall played more defensive snaps percentage-wise than any other Jet on defense, at like 97, 98%. I hate the idea of him going down to like 30 to 40%. It really gives me a bad omen. I don't want that to happen to this kid. Just don't. We'll see, but you know what? Sal Ulbrich, if they like him, they'll find a place for him. And if he's on the sideline a lot, well, that's going to tell us an awful lot, won't it?
Yeah.
So,
So everybody, always comes at the end now lately, but I gotta go. I gotta cook dinner. How amazing is it that this was a spur of the moment thing? Like 3 hours ago, I was like, I think I'll just go on for a little while and just check, just hang out and say hello to everybody. And here we are, 2 hours and 49 minutes later, doing a show. So poor
it's like
Nick.
is this 3 nights in a row that we've done this?
I don't know. Poor Nick.
Well, we did Buffalo show, and then we did our show, and then we did
Buffalo,
tonight.
right?
So
But
in a way, it feels like 3 straight nights, and it's the end of July. It's just crazy.
Later talking to Tigo. We got to get you back on the air soon.
Yeah, for sure, buddy.
It's just crazy because tomorrow, am I really going to get to go? Like, Nick might be by himself.
I got a show. I got a concert that I'm going to. Like, I'm gonna come on, but I can't guarantee what time. Put it this way: the later the show goes, the better chance that I'll be coming on. But I can tell you, it won't be at 9 p.m. That will not be happening.
What are we making, fella? I am cooking chicken shawarma from Trader Joe's packaged it's like chicken thighs that have been marinating in this shawarma sauce. So I'm going to throw it in the pan and just kind of cook it up. Maybe eat it with some rice or something. I don't know. But my wife's hungry, so I got to go take care of that. So anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for jumping on, Adam. That was fun.
No, you're welcome. This is like the season's about to go. This is like, it's amazing that we're doing it as much as we're doing it, and this is without having a whole lot to talk about. Wait till all the news starts coming in. It's gonna get pretty crazy, and I'm excited for it. And I want to thank everybody who stopped in the chat, everybody who contributed, and hey, everybody who watches. But maybe there's some people who watch and don't feel like chatting. You know what? We appreciate you too. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm gonna say goodbye to this memory. Remember this when I was doing the mock drafts? Enjoy. I like Hutchinson the best, and I don't think Linderbaum is worth a top 10 pick. Thibodeau slipped, and I am going to grab Thibodeau. The Giants took Khalil Elam. Good for them. Kenyon Green is a guarantee in my mind. He would be such a dream pick right here. Evan Neal is still on the board. I'm not going to pick him now. That 44 pick could be tight end. That 44 pick could be a good linebacker, a good safety. We could drop back one pick and pick up a second rounder for New Orleans. We got options here.